delivers. Line toward the gap in left center field. That's a base hit for Vidro. Beltran cuts it off. Vidro trying for two. The throw by Beltran, the slide, out, and the ball game is over. 2-2 to right. Into the air to center field. Damon going back to the warning track. It's over his head, and the Mets win it. He rips it to deep right. That ball is out of here. Out of here. The Mets win the ball game. It's off the fence, and Reyes is flying. He could go all the way. Third gear, fourth gear. He's being waved around third, fifth gear. To left field, Floyd. And after running roughshod over the National League, the Mets have a title to show for it. 2006 National League East champions. 2006 provided a number of stirring moments for the fans coming into Shea Stadium. What will 2007 provide? Well, a sold-out house coming into the big ballpark in Flushing, now in its second to last year. About to find out. Shea Stadium opens for business in 2007 with Citi Field getting ready right next door. At Shea Stadium in New York, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. This game on SNY, presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Shea Stadium. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you. Keith Hernandez couldn't join us right now. He's got some other business down on the field. He'll be throwing out the first pitch in just a moment. But, you know, it struck me while the team was being introduced to the crowd here at Shea, Ron, that this is more than just a baseball team right now. They're kind of like rock stars.
They are like rock stars. You have the pick of who you can root for. You got the great Jose Reyes leading off. The young girls love David Wright. Paul LaDuca with the great start. Just every single person has, if not their history here at Shea, they have their history in baseball and what they've done. So just a great lineup. It was great hearing them announced. And it was interesting to hear, like, John Maine got a big round of applause because the last time he was here on the Shea Stadium field for Game 6, he showed him what he was worth.
And even Moises Alou, who's new to the ball club but who fans are familiar with, got a very nice reception.
Yeah, he got the Lou, so he's already in their hearts here at Shea Stadium.
It's quite a pitching matchup for the game today. John Maine for the Mets, Cole Hamels, the young stud for the Phillies. They both got off to great starts.
Yeah, they both pitched 7 innings, no runs. Cole Hamels, of course, strikes out a lot of batters. A good, really hard fastball for that left-hander. And John Maine, the Met fans know what he's done so far.
Well, before they get there, there's another left-hander headed to the mound to show off his stuff. And to bring you all of that, let's go back to our public address announcer here at Shea Stadium, Alex Anthony.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the pitcher's mound and welcome Frank Lasorsa of DHL as he delivers the ball for today's ceremonial first pitch. DHL delivering America's pastime on time. This Mets legend earned a record 11 consecutive Gold Gloves while playing first base from 1978 to 1988. He was a 5-time All-Star with over 2,000 hits and 1,000 RBI during his 17-year playing career. In Game 7 of the 1986 World Series, he hit a key 2-run single that led the Mets to their second World Championship. Now a baseball analyst on Sportsnet New York, would you please welcome one of the greatest and most popular players ever to wear the orange and blue, number 17, first baseman Keith Hernandez. Our ceremonial first pitch catcher is Mets coach Howard Johnson. Keith, are you ready? It's your pitch.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Hernandez.
A little high cheese from our buddy.
That's fine. He's throwing to Hojo. Hojo didn't like the ball up there, so competitive to his end.
Keith has gotten the season started here at Shea Stadium from the mound. And now it's up to the rest of the Mets as the Phillies are in town for the first of three. Opening day at Shea. First pitch coming right up. Maine took the Shea Stadium mound. It was for Game 6 of the National League Championship Series. Now he starts off the Shea Stadium season against the Phillies lineup, brought to you by Ford. Crowd favorite Jimmy Rollins leads things off. National League MVP Ryan Howard in that cleanup spot. Phillies are 1-5 as Maine throws the first pitch at Shea, and it's a call strike to Jimmy Rollins. Well, Rollins was greeted with a bit of rudeness when he was introduced during pregame festivities. As Maine misses 1-1.
Which was just the opposite of the reaction that John Maine got. I thought coming into today's game the weather would be worse than this, and it'd be easy for Maine with that good fastball, but it's come out to be a good day.
Slowly hit, and David Wright, against the speed of Rollins, throws him out, and Maine retires the first batter of the game. So Jimmy Rollins, who pronounced the Phillies the team to beat during the offseason, much to the ire of many Mets fans. Although to listen to Willie Randolph talk about it, he wasn't disturbed at all.
Well, they've become the team to beat up here in the first week as they started 1-5, but not Rollins' fault. He's come out of the blocks hot.
You know, it's funny. It almost seems as though when the Phillies heard Rollins pronounce them the team to beat, they said, "Okay, Jimmy, you take care of it." Shane Victorino, now the regular right fielder, with Bobby Abreu playing in the Bronx. Victorino with a ton of speed, a switch hitter. Has that Little League helmet with the flaps on both sides. And it takes a strike, 1-1. Now, you don't usually like people throwing out first pitches throwing from the rubber.
Yeah, I don't. I like them to stay off the rubber, in fact.
Victorino lifts one down the line. A long run for Utley. Will it stay in play? It will. And Utley makes the grab. The wind is blowing the ball from left to right. It kept it out of the crowd and into the glove of Utley for the second out. Keith is back. He just said 95-mile-an-hour cheddar. I don't know if you could hear it. We won't mention that it was well out of the strike zone.
Well, here's the defense. The Lexus starting defense. Same group that they've had all the games now. This is a group you're going to see. Usually you might see against the left-hander Hamels. You might see Damian Easley, but Valentine getting the start today on opening day.
Here's Chase Utley with 2 out and nobody on. And Utley takes a strike, and Maine coming out throwing strikes as he did against the Cardinals in his first start of the year. Utley blossoming as one of the real stars in the National League, but off to a slow start, as are most of the Phillies. And they're 1-5 on the year. Haven't pitched particularly well and haven't gotten a lot of big hits early. Maine ahead on Utley, 0-2. And he misses badly, 1-2. That's about as much as you missed by.
Well, I know. I thought I aimed high and I almost threw it into the stands. But I tell you what, I still got that heat.
You had some good gas.
Didn't hurt.
Absolutely. That was good.
The most important thing, it didn't hurt.
I think you were just a little pumped.
Well, nice haircut. Looks like I got scalped.
I thought it was really nice that Hojo caught you. Haji Sheik behind there.
I loved it. That was fun.
That's nice.
I enjoyed that.
Well deserved.
Thank you, Ron.
And the crowd expressed its love. And Utley fouls it back. Still 1-2.
You know, Gary was saying every day there's someone that throws the first ball out. And one of the biggest irritations I used to have when I played is I would go out to that rubber and Joe, the owner of some insurance company, would be scraping up that rubber all over the place. But for you, I'm glad you were out there.
Well, I didn't dig in on the mound.
No.
And the breaking ball foul back. Well, it doesn't appear to have affected John Maine early on. So look at Ryan Howard waiting on deck. Mets would love to see him come to bat in the second inning. Maine looked a little pumped as he took the mound today. Usually he's very calm. Ahead 1-2, and he gets Utley with a slide. The John Maine, who displayed his other pitches in his start against the Cardinals, gets off to a rollicking start as he sets the Phillies down 1-2-3. Is brought to you by Barbados, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. Come experience the authentic Caribbean. Hummer. Visit Hummer.com and check out the 83 Hummer like nothing else. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit Geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Jose Reyes leads off against Cole Hamels and takes ball one. Reyes beat up on the Phillies last year. He hit 19 home runs and 7 of them came against the Phils. He loves hitting at Citizens Bank Park.
Well, he had that 1-3 home run game, I think, in Citizens Bank Park last year.
Yes, he did.
He had 360 against Phillies pitching last year, and he's off to a fast start this season. And he fouls off the fastball from Cole Hamels, 1-2. Reyes already with 3 triples, had 2 of them in the series, well, 3 of them, I should say, in the series in Atlanta that just concluded. That's got him to third base a couple of times yesterday, but couldn't get him in. And he fouls off that fastball.
Well, it looks like Hamels is throwing hard. I like his stuff. I like the look of him last year when I saw him pitch.
Hamels was 9-8 with the Phillies as a rookie last year. Two to Reyes.
It's never been that he can't pitch. He just dominated the minor leagues. I mean, he dominated the minor leagues like Dwight Gooden dominated the minor leagues. 270 strikeouts in 200 innings. It's just been the injury bug that's curtailed him.
And he gets it with a changeup, and that is a wonderful pitch for Cole Hamels as he strikes out Reyes for the first down.
Well, he's got 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got a changeup that drops off the table, and he also has an overhand 12-6 hook. So he just has all the pitches.
So 1 out and nobody on as we check out the Geico Mets starting lineup. Same 8 that have started all but 1 of the games. Paul Lo Duca had the day off yesterday, and his sub Ramon Castro hit a home run. But Lo Duca off to a terrific start, hitting at .409 as he steps in against Hamels. And he pulls the fastball down to third. Abraham Nunez getting his first start of the year, handles it cleanly, and that's the second out. So 2 out and nobody on.
See those numbers from last year. The big one is the strikeouts, 145 and only 132 innings pitched, more than 1 an inning. 19 home runs is a lot of home runs in 132 innings, but he's one of those guys, fearless young pitcher.
Just 23 years old, and really you can call him at this point a young ace for the Phillies as Carlos Beltran takes one in the dirt. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people like the Phillies this year. They're starting pitching with Brett Myers and Cole Hamels at the top of their rotation.
Well, Keith, it really hasn't been the pitching. The pitching's been pretty good for Phillies. They have had a hard time catching the ball.
Well, I talked with Gary Matthews, Sarge, who was a former left fielder for the Phils and the Cubs and the Giants and the Braves. He's a good friend of mine. He's doing TV for the Phillies. I'd say the pitching's been fine.
Doing one to Beltran.
They haven't got a whole lot of coverage when they have Wirtz out there, and also Burrow in the corner outfielder positions. It's, you know, a lot of pressure on Rowan to cover ground.
On 2-1, Beltran takes wide, and it's 3-1.
And Rowan's a good center fielder, but he's not a classic speed guy, the kind of guy that can make up for anybody's mistakes.
We know he's not afraid to put his face in.
Oh gosh, what a catch that was.
And Beltran hits one off the end of the bat foul. 3-2 to Carlos.
And the Rico defense for the fighting Phils, I guess. MVP Ryan Howard at first. Chase Utley, what a fine player he is at second. Jimmy Rollins. Abraham Nunez at third. Carlos Ruiz behind the plate, newcomer. Burrow, Rowan, Victorino out there in the outfield.
On 3-2, Beltran goes down swinging, and Hamels has a couple of strikeouts in his first inning as they got both Reyes and Beltran going off speed. Second inning with no score. Each of these young pitchers dominating that first inning. And the defending National League Most Valuable Player Ryan Howard steps in. Howard off to a slow start, just 5 for 23. Coming off a 58 home run, 148 RBI season that won him Most Valuable Player honors last year, despite the Phillies falling short.
He struggled in spring training too. with the bat. So you kind of, it's sophomore jinx, but it's too early to tell. I mean, we talked about Sean Green with the spring he had, and he's wearing it out early in the season.
And Maine goes to the changeup and gets ahead of Howard 1-2.
Look at those numbers. Just 313. That's a very high batting average for a big slugger like Ryan Howard. I think the most important person in the lineup for the Fighting Phils this season is going to be the guy behind him, Pat Burrell.
Under it to center field. Beltran, with the wind drifting it back a little bit, has it for the first down. Well, 1 out and nobody on. And you notice the 108 walks that Howard drew last year. If Burrell doesn't hit behind him, that 108 could become 150.
Yeah, that's why I believe he's the most important. If he hits like he can, and Pat Burrell's a 30 home run, 100 RBI kind of guy, then they'll have to pitch to Howard. If he does not, Howard will not get the opportunity to do the things he did last year.
And you see Burrell is off to a good start this year. He lines one to center field, and that'll fall in for the first base hit of the game. So Burrell, who has owned the Mets generally with the long ball over the course of his career, gets it started with a 1-out single.
I always fear the hitter or the player pitcher that's coming off a bad season. That's a good hitter or a good pitcher coming off a bad season. You see Burrell right there, very strong. He stays up at the plate, and that's his classic swing. He's really got a one-zone swing. Likes that ball downstairs, doesn't like it up.
Here's Carlos Ruiz, the catcher, who played in 27 games for the Phillies last year. They're in somewhat of a transitional mode as far as their catchers are concerned. They picked up Rod Barajas. They've got Ruiz, and right now they're splitting the time behind the plate. Mike Lieberthal was the #1 catcher in Philadelphia for so long. And Ruiz takes a strike.
That was an interesting comment you said about Burrell, Keith, because most right-handed hitters are more high ball hitter variety, but Burrell likes that ball down, has kind of an uppercut kind of swing.
Yes, he does, a big uppercut. A lot of hitters today have that same kind of swing.
Ruiz punches it off the fists.
A lot of ball. In the old days, it used to be the right-handed high ball hitters and the left-handed low ball hitters. Well, the left-handers are still low ball hitters, but now the right-handers. This is a good pitch right here. Look at him. He got forced inside. You got to bunch him in, Garrett.
Love that bunch.
Bunched him in.
Maine looking for the double play ball from Ruiz. But he strikes him out with a high heat. Second strikeout for John Maine. 2 away.
Well, good fastball. Up in the strike zone, John Maine's ball kind of explodes up and in.
Now that's classic 06 John Maine.
You're right. And the game in St. Louis, he threw everything at the knees. He's been a little bit up this time so far. He's had success. Rick Peterson, of course, has worked with him all spring to start throwing down at the knees. That's where he wants him to pitch.
Here's Aaron Rowan, the center fielder, hitting 7th in the order, and he takes the high slider 1-0. But what really impressed Peterson about Maine's first outing was the way he commanded his changeup and his slider.
Well, that was the key, and I talked to Rick about it, and Rick said, you have not seen anything yet. He said that John Maine is going to be throwing his changeup to both sides of the plate, and he said his bullpen work has been outstanding.
Comes in tight to Rowan, and it's 2-0.
And nothing wrong with that pitch. Not enough of that pitch today in today's game. That is a perfectly legal pitch. And just, hey, you want to dive? Well, there you go, buddy. Think twice about that.
Two and 0 to Rowan with 2 out. And challenges him with a fastball, and Rowan can't catch it.
You know, Keith, the guys don't throw inside as much as you see this ball. Again, when it's upstairs, it has some life up and in. And one of the reasons they don't is, one, the armor that the hitters are allowed to wear. 2, the pitchers are brought up a little before they have their control, so they end up hitting a lot of batters instead of being able to pitch inside effectively. When you throw inside, it's just like throwing, you might be throwing a ball and you want to send a message, but you got to be able to do it. If you throw something over the plate middle, then you have haven't sent any message.
Plus, the commissioner's office has enforced the brushback pitch. Pitchers get warned, and then you can't throw inside the rest of the game.
Maine behind on Rowan 3-1, and he comes upstairs again, and Rowan can't get it. 3-2.
That's a great point, Keith. What they've done is they've put the game in the hands of the umpires, people who don't play it. And what they do is a lot of times they make the wrong decision on allowing guys to pitch inside or not.
I'd always love to know that a pitcher can't brush me back and knock me off the plate. for the rest of my 3 at-bats in the game.
Burrow gets set to take off with 3 and 2 and 2 down. And he walked it. So Rowan is aboard with a walk, and the Phillies have 2 out and 2 on with the number 8 hitter Abraham Nunez coming up.
Well, Nunez, the Phillies acquired from the Cardinals last year, and 2 years ago with the Cardinals, Nunez just had a terrific year with the ailing Rollins. Missed most of the season, and Nunez just had a terrific season. And last year was a bit of a disappointment at Philly. He didn't get a chance to play very much. So now he's getting the opportunity.
This is his first start of this season. Wes Helms has played all the games at third before this, and that's interesting because Helms has really never been a regular player. And off what he did in a part-time role in Florida last year, they've handed Helms the third base job, and now it's up to Nunez to try and get a piece of it. Switch hitter. And he takes a slider low, 1-1.
Well, Helms has got a little more pop in his bat than Nunez.
I mean, the Phillies are very much like the Cardinals in that they're very strong in the middle of their batting order, but you wonder about 5 through 9. And Maine falls behind Nunez 2-1.
That's a good point. You feel like if you're a pitcher, you should be able to handle Ruiz. Rowan is a good player, but he hit in the 250s last year. Nunez, you would think if you're worth your weight in gold as a pitcher, you should be able to handle him and the pitcher spot. That's 4 places right there.
On 2-1, Nunez, it's the slow grounder. Delgado keeps it fair and tags out Nunez to end the inning. So John Maine works around a single and a walk. He's already given up as many hits in this game as he did in his first start. Still no score. Carlos Delgado leads off the home second inning against Cole Hamels, who looked very tough in the first inning. And he drops the bunt. That's the shift, and he has himself the easiest of base hits. Well, how many times did we talk about it last year that any time Carlos wanted to, he could probably bunt for a hit against the overshift? He finally does.
Well, he does, folks. This is outer limits. Don't change that dial. There's nothing wrong with your TV. It's a bunt down the third base line, and he can walk to first.
And the thing about it is, it doesn't have to be any kind of a perfect bunt. He just has to get it down.
Look at him.
Valentine.
Now steal a base.
Ryan Howard says we're going to eject you from the Power Hitters Club. Here's David Wright, and he takes high.
Well, you see right there, I mean, hello. Thank you very much.
Just have to make sure the pitcher doesn't field it. Wright has hit in all 6 games this year.
Oh, man.
Good changeup by Hamels, and it's 1-1.
No tip off in the delivery, which is always key. I mean, it's a, Ronnie, it's a pretty obvious statement, but a lot of pitchers have a tip off somewhere in some of their pitches. He does not.
Fastball hit down the right field line. That should get pushed over into the seats by the wind.
As a pitcher, what you're always trying to do on your changeup is make sure you have at least the same arm action, or the real great ones, they almost have even more arm action. And they throw all this arm action, and you get just 85 miles an hour of a changeup. But most pitchers, you're right, Keith, a lot of them have one little tip off where they might slow their arm down a little bit, or their motion, something to give it away.
And that really is what has made Johan Santana as good as he is.
Yes.
Andy Messersmith had the greatest changeup I ever faced, and he was a 2-pitch pitcher, and he won. He had different speeds with his changeup. It was very difficult.
So Moises Alou on deck, 2-2 to right, and that's a double play ball to short. Rollins to Utley and on to first. 2 out and nobody on. Mets Baseball on SNY is brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? Moises Alou for his first Shea Stadium at bat as a Met. Always hit in 4 straight games. And Hamels is going to be one tough customer today. Throws a curveball inside. Now Lou, at 40 years of age, proven RBI bat, behind Wright in the lineup. It's 2-0.
It's pretty interesting. The catcher Nunez. That's a good way to do it with a young pitcher. Curveball's his third pitch. Work it on early in the count so you don't get too far behind trying to use it as a weapon.
2-1 to Alou.
How'd you guys sleep last night? I was exhausted.
Quickly.
Tossed and turned all night.
No. You had opening day jitters?
Maybe. Little pop up. And the pitcher Hamels takes charge. Oh, and just barely gets the glove on it to end the inning. That's why they don't want the pitchers to call for those balls.
Precisely.
I disagree.
Elementary, dear Watson.
No score. On to the third inning. It's Shea in the home opener.
Who's that on the right?
I believe that's the lovely lady that you know well.
My lovely bride, Kai.
Beauty.
I understand. Poor lady is right. She didn't know what she was getting into. I told her. I said, you don't want to do this.
I think she's very happy. She smiles a lot.
Yes.
2-1 to Cole Hamels. Got a couple of young pitchers in this game, each of whom threw really part of a season last year. As Hamels flares one, and Reyes with the dive can't get it, and Hamels has himself a soft base hit.
Well, nice effort here by Jose, and that is, it couldn't have been a better sand wedge out of the trap of a bunker at Augusta. Beautiful shot. Nice try. Tough luck.
Well, kept slicing away from Jose, and so the Phillies have a leadoff base runner, and Jimmy Rollins steps in. We'll see what the Phillies do here. In this kind of a game, the way these two guys are dealing, you wouldn't be surprised if they play for one run. But he's up there to swing, and he takes ball one. Well, first Shea Stadium opener for Kevin Burkhardt as our sideline reporter. How are things down there, Kevin?
Doing well, guys. You know, it's interesting. These Jimmy Rollins comments certainly have taken on a life of their own about saying that the Phillies were the best team in this division, and it seems like every team has commented on them. But I actually went in the clubhouse and spoke to a couple guys, namely Shane Victorino today. He had an interesting take. He said, you know what? This team needed a confidence boost, and we got it by Jimmy saying that. He's our leader. He said he was very happy, and the guys were pretty happy that they said that. No disrespect to the Braves or Mets, just a confidence boost that this team really needed. As far as their slow start, Victorino said, we're not worried. We just need to find a way to get this thing rectified and do it now. Guys?
Well, by the way, it is disrespect to the Braves and the Mets. I don't care what they want to try to say or what kind of spin they want to put on it. Listen, you play 162 games. This is the best place right here to decide who's the best team.
Here's Hamels at first with nobody out.
It's always better to keep your mouth shut. Let your actions speak louder than your words. I know it's ball four there. It's cliche, but let the actions out in the field do the talking.
There's a big walk in this inning. That really sets the stage for the Phillies. They've got their number 2 hitter Victorino up with first and second and nobody out, with Utley and Howard to follow.
You know, they've started 1-5 now. You've put undue pressure. 2005 they started 1-6. Last year 1-5. They're used to getting off to these slow starts.
It's very interesting. John Ed Howard wrote a column in Newsday today talking about how in other sports saying something like what Rollins said is normal. People say those things all the time, but in baseball, which is such a humbling game, it's a little harder to get away with. Victorino drops down the bunt. Maine goes to third, but too late. Bad decision, and now the bases are loaded for Utley and Howard.
Well, good fielding pitchers have an inner clock, and they know what kind of time they have to throw the ball to third base.
Well, this is a regular bunt play, so Wright has to come in here carefully. If the ball's bunted down here, that's what you want to do. You want to force Wright to field. If it's bunted where he bunted up front, Wright can cover third. So you see Reyes covering second. It was a little bit an overly aggressive play there. It's early in the game. Get the easy out.
So that should go as a sacrifice and a fielder's choice to load the bases. Chase Utley, the batter, he struck out his first time up, and he lifts one to right field, not all that deep. The pitcher Hamels tagging at third, but Green running to the glove hand side, can't make the throw home, instead goes to third, not in time, and that enables Rollins to get down to second. So a sacrifice fly by Victorino gets the run in, Utley gets the run in, but Green's throw to third enables both of the runners to move up.
Well, look how long it takes Green to throw here. Jose Reyes should have realized that. Has no chance. Oh, he overthrew the cutoff man too. So that's just a bad throw all around. Reyes is right there to make the cutoff properly, and he overshot him. So just a poor throw by Green that takes the double play away run.
Yeah, listen, pitchers have to manage an inning. So do players and outfielders and infielders. Get that ball to second base, have it first and third, and have a chance to get a ground ball from Ryan Howard.
So now second and third, the infield comes in at third base. Everybody else back for Howard, who takes ball one. So the Mets will concede a run on a ground ball here. So Maine victimized by his bad fielding decision as Howard fouls one back. And now the Phillies in position to put a crooked number on the board because of Green's overthrow of the cutoff man.
Well, you might be wondering at home too, why aren't you maybe intentionally walking the MVP Howard here, a left-hand hitter, set up double play? You don't want to do it early in the game and set up a really big inning.
Also, he has not been swinging the bat very well. 1-2 now to Howard. Put on a show with the long ball, and you know the thing about Howard that's so impressive is the number of home runs he hits to left field.
Well, in that ballpark too, it's just a bandbox to left, not taking anything away from Ryan Howard. He's a very strong young man.
1-2, Howard swings and misses at the changeup, and John Maine gets a big strikeout. That's his third of the day.
Well, this is an outstanding changeup that just drops off the table. The key, though, is he set him up with two fastballs up in the strike zone before that pitch. Perfectly placed changeup, and he has a chance to get out of this inning. Every starting pitcher during the course of a game, if you're going to have a successful game, Gary, there's 4 or 5 outs you have to get. That was his first one.
So here's Pat Burrell, who had a base hit his first time, and Maine causes him.
Well, hello, 2 up and in. Wake-up calls there.
Well, the first time up, Burrell hit a slider down and away, almost off the plate for a single to center field. Maybe Maine's trying to send a message.
You know what? If you're going to walk somebody in this inning, this is the guy you're going to walk, because Burrell has been the hottest bat in that Philadelphia lineup.
And he's been the one guy hitting in the clutch.
Yeah, coming into the day, the Phillies as a team were hitting .200 with runners in scoring position. Burrell is 4 for 5. The rest of the team 8 for 55.
Yeah, honestly, if I was pitching here, I would punt with Burrell and go right to Ruiz.
Well, Maine behind 2-0, but they're not going to put him on, at least not intentionally. And he throws a slider and throws a strike.
Well, it's one of those at bats here. I think that John Maine is going to be very careful, and if he falls behind, you know, you got a young hitter and Ruiz behind him. But you got to be careful, Ron, don't you? When you try to pitch carefully to someone, then you make a mistake, correct?
Yeah, you can make a mistake, and I think also John Maine is early in his career, and he's going to be an outstanding pitcher, but I wouldn't say that he's got impeccable control where he can just pitch around the strike zone.
3-1 to Burrell, and he threw the fastball by him. 3-2.
Well, that's the pitch upstairs, up and in, where Burrell is blind, Ron, right here. See that?
And that's the way the game's changed, too. You would never throw inside 3-1 in that kind of situation.
So do you come back to the same spot?
I think you have to. Make sure it's on the corner, though.
3-2. He throws the fastball, and Burrell hits it in the air. Loduca trying to track it, and he's got it. Side retired. So Maine came right back with a fastball, and he works out of jam, getting Howard and Burrell, and limits the damage to 1 run. Coming into Shea on opening day. That's with a couple of defensive miscues to fall behind 1-0. As Sean Green leads things off against Cole Hamels in the home third. And a check swing grounder foul. Sometimes things are not exactly what they seem to be.
Keep an eye on Reyes here. This is the fly ball to Green here. He's got to go. Here he is. Watch his head. He is anticipating Sean Green. Look at him. He's looking down the ground to throw home. Sean Green has no play at the plate. I made a mistake. That was not an overthrow of the cutoff man. The mental error was Jose Reyes and assuming that Green was going to throw home, and he should have known, with Green ranging to his right and a long time to throw, that he wasn't going to throw home and cut the ball off right there and keep that double play in order.
Kept Victorino at first base. Green chases Rowan back in center field, and Rowan runs it down. Rowan loves to play a shallow center.
Now watch Sean here. Now, as a player, you realize with that kind of steps in motion, that's around 2.5 seconds. A, he's not throwing home, has no chance for running home. B, has no chance for the runner at third tagging up. So you throw into, Sean Green did the right thing, throwing into the cutoff man, and Jose did the wrong thing, not cutting it off.
Valentine swinging at the changeup, and it's 0-1.
And one other point, I forgot my own position. Throw home, the cutoff man is the first baseman in right center field.
Valentine trying to drop down the button, he fouls it off. Well, you get a game like this where you've got two young pitchers, and I was about to talk about just what the position of these guys are in this National League East. You've got 23-year-old Hamels, 25-year-old Maine, both of whom are just starting to come into their own and just looking fabulous early in the season. And those little mistakes, Maine throwing to the wrong base, Reyes not cutting that ball off, those are the things that decide games.
Yes.
But John Maine, if he's so young at 25, LaDuca can really help in that way. Be screaming at him to go to first base, because you got to get an out there. It's always great to get the lead runner, and it's a sexy play, and it's great. It might stop the inning from scoring a run. Boy, if you don't make it, it's just ugly.
Well, another thing too, John Maine got out of that jam with 1 run. Nicely done.
Great pitching to Howard.
1-2 to Valentine. Two and two.
See how Hamels starts that ball just firmly in his glove, and then he'll just flip it around whatever way he wants his grip.
In there for a call, strike 3. Got Valentine looking. That's the 3rd strikeout for Hamels.
Well, I think this is a changeup again. This one just drifted across the plate. And the thing about Hamels, you were showing us, that ended up being almost in the inside corner. And it takes a lot of talent to go in that glove and not tip those pitches off, because that changeup grip is usually you have to fan the glove, and he does not, because he sticks that ball deep in his glove, so that means his glove is already wide open.
Here's John Maine, and he takes a strike. Maine has said that he is committed to getting his batting average this year over 100.
Well, what do you get? 30 every 5th day? What do you get? 33, 34 starts?
Yeah, so you get 30 starts. It's 3 at bats, 90, 75 at bats. He's in trouble.
Means he's
Sorry,
gotta
John.
Means he's got to get 8 hits.
Well, if his turn comes around, he has to face guys like Hamel. He's in big trouble.
He had 1 hit last year, and it came in his last start of the season. And now he has his first hit, perhaps. Can Utley throw him out? Nope. And Maine has an infield hit. Well, he got to 250 with that base hit.
Well, you can see the second baseman right here where he has to go. Pull it up the middle. By a tick Hamel. Nice play by Utley. Just couldn't make the throw. Beautiful. That is sweet.
You know what the problem is, Keith, is that it was his changeup. And a changeup to a pitcher like John Maine, that's good hitting speed.
Hamels fortunate to get out of the way of most of it. Here's Reyes with a tying run at first and a check swing foul ball.
Yeah, you just don't, you know, if you're going to throw a changeup to a pitcher, it means you're trying to get the strikeout. So if you're trying to get the strikeout, you got to throw it in the dirt. They'll swing over the top of it. But if you leave it in the strike zone, that's good hitting speed for a pitcher. They can't handle 95.
Little looper. Utley out, Rowan in, base hit. And the Mets have 2 men on. So Reyes dunking one in front of Rowan, which is hard to do as shallow as Rowan plays.
Look at Roland up there. And Utley. This is just a little ping right here. Right in between them. Tough chance for him. Not high enough. Completely fooled Reyes with the changeup.
Well, between Hamels and Reyes, I think it's 1-1 in the pings for the Phillies against the Mets.
So now here's Loduca, 2 out and 2 on. But remember, you have the pitcher Maine running at second base.
And this is a hitter right here. It's a line drive hitter that goes opposite field that Hamels has to be really wary of, where a single beats you. He's a good, solid 300 hitter, line drive hitter. He's the kind of guy that can hit the changeup.
Look how shallow Victorino's playing in right field. That's good defensive positioning in this spot. A lot of opposite field outfielders will play deeper than that.
That reminds me of the days in the 80s that I used to play Rafael Santana. But Rafael wasn't the hitter that Loduca was.
Loduca grounded out to third his first time up. And takes the breaking ball for a strike. Didn't think so.
I thought it was low. Oh, he's hot.
Loduca will let him know.
He'd much rather be 2-0 than 1-1, obviously. That's low.
Bill Miller, the home plate umpire. Catchers always have a dicey situation arguing balls and strikes when they're batting. Line to short, one hopper for Rollins. And that gets Hamels through the inning. So Loduca with the hardest hit ball of the inning. And Cole Hamels and the Phillies have a 1-0 lead. Weekday mornings before you head out the door, check out the CW11's commuter cast. From traffic tie-ups to train delays, get up-to-the-minute time-saving traffic reports with commuter cast all morning long on the CW11 Morning News. Here now the Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets home games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable. Do you see in HD? And if you're in the car, listen to every game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Let's have 2 more with the Phillies Wednesday and Thursday before the Nationals come in. Look who's joined us here in the booth, Mookie Wilson. How are you, Mookie?
I'm doing just fine.
Say hi to the folks, Luke, right there. There you go. Say hi.
Oh, that's the camera.
You know they love you.
Well, I don't know. I'm watching the ball game right now.
You know, when you come to Shea, the reaction to you, all through your playing days, through your coaching days, and even now, is unlike the reaction that any other player gets. It's amazing the connection that the fans have with you.
Well, I don't know what it is. I've always had a very nice relationship with the fans here. And I enjoy coming to watch the ball game. I enjoy the fans. I enjoy the excitement that they bring to the ballpark. And we've always had that connection. And I've been blessed, really blessed.
I know one thing. When I decided to stay here in New York in '83, and then I signed my contract, and there was talk of trading Mookie, and I came out in the paper and I said Mookie's the one guy not to trade, because we always in St. Louis admired Mookie because they were perennial last place team, out of it in May, and Mookie would hit a 2-hop bullet on AstroTurf, no chance for Bob Hayes to beat it out, and Mookie would bust his fanny down the first base line, always hustled. And those are the guys, if we were going to turn it around as a base hit right there for Ruiz to right field, if we were going to turn it around, we had to have those guys with that kind of attitude, Mookie. Yeah. And that was one of the best moves Frank Cashin did, was not trading you.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's how I feel about you. That's how I feel about you.
I remember that statement. He kept it around for about 3 more years, as a matter of fact. But
well, you could hit.
It's funny you mentioned the Cardinals, because of course Mookie's now a Cardinal fan.
Oh, okay. We're going there. All right. Okay. All right.
Well, it's only natural if your son's playing for the Cardinals, right?
It was tough. I tell you, it was tough, and I had the pleasure of being able to pull for 2 teams. And you have to pull, for your family when they get an opportunity. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I was very proud of him, and he got a ring, and that's something that very few ball players get. And I couldn't be happy for him.
You know, when players are young, especially when they win young, sometimes they think those rings are easy to obtain.
I think that people, you know, they fail to realize how difficult that is. I mean, there have been a lot of very, very good ball players that, you know, haven't come close to getting a ring. And there have been a lot of bad ball players that's got 3 or 4 of them. So, you know.
Right. You're not naming names, are you? 0-1 to Aaron Rowan. And he pops one foul back this way.
Oh, almost got us.
Yeah.
Well, Mookie, of course, was involved in that ground ball to Buckner, and I don't want to bring that up. I'm sure everybody knows that, but also one of the most...
Nobody's ever mentioned that before, have they?
No, right there. Nobody.
One of the most horrific collisions in left center field with Lenny Dykstra. Remember that? That put you out for a while.
Yes. Well, we finished the game, but we were out for a couple of days after that.
0-2 to Rowan, and he throws a slider down and away.
You know,
When Mookie was red hot, and Mookie didn't take a lot of pitches.
None.
He picked kind of throw a curveball that an inch off the ground, and Mookie would golf it and golf it in the gap for hit a bullet, a one hopper off the wall. I said, "How's he do that?"
You know, I was really a bad ball hitter. I mean, that was it. You know, I just believe in swinging the bat. You know, it's not. I wouldn't teach a kid to do that, but you know, sometimes you just can't change, you know, the way you play, because you make matters worse. And believe me, I tried. Jimmy Fry, he tried everything with me, bunting 200 balls a day. Everything, it just didn't work.
200 a day?
Oh, at least.
That means coming out early.
Oh, man, I didn't take batting practice a lot of times. I was bunting so many balls, you know. It also happened, the Mets sent me down to work out with Harry Walker.
Oh, I
sent me down there to try to straighten me out, and it didn't work. So, you know, they tried everything. It just didn't work.
You know, you talked about getting here in '83, Keith, and whether they were going to keep Mookie or not. What I remember is when Mookie first got here, what was the first year? 79, 80?
No, 80. I came up in 8 September.
I mean, this franchise was absolutely at rock bottom. And Mookie was a reason for people to come to the ballpark.
Yes.
At a time when not a lot of people were coming to the ballpark, as Rowan draws a walk and the Phillies have another threat going with 2 men on. It had to be. I mean, as a young player, you're probably a little oblivious to that. But as you were here those first few years before the hope arrived, it had to be a little tough coming out here and playing with as much enthusiasm as you did every day.
But to be honest with you, when I came up, we were a ball team. We were a bad ball team. There's no question about it. And there were times I really wanted to go back to AAA, because
really?
at least we were winning. You know, we were winning in AAA and we were having some fun. And I just didn't think that the timing might have been just wrong. The timing might have been just wrong, but as it turned out, it was the perfect time, because I came up with some good guys, you know, Hubert Brooks, Wally Backman, Jesse Roscoe, and we really could see the difference in the team, you know, particularly the second year. And we just started having fun. But that first year, it was tough. It was really, really hard.
That's the days when we come to Shea Stadium. I was a Cardinal then, and there'd be, you know, 3,000 to 4,000 people in the ball, 5,000, and you have to find ways to get yourself up for the game.
It's tough, you know. You know you're bad when you celebrate when you don't lose 100 ball games. You know.
John Maine struggling a little bit here in the 4th. The base hit to Ruiz, the walk to Rowan, and now ball 1 to Abraham Nunez, the number 8 hitter. The Phillies already with a 1-0 lead. You know, people talk to you all the time, Mookie, about '86 and about the Buckner play. What's your one shining moment? What's the moment that you think about when you think about your Mets career? Is it that, or is it something else?
Actually, it's something else. And some people may remember this. It was we were playing in the. I think Keith might have still been with St. Louis at the time. We were playing St. Louis right here, and I dropped the fly ball in center field to allow Tito Landrum to get in the park home run to put them the Cardinals up by a run in the 9th inning. I came back in the bottom of the 9th, hit a 2-run homer off Bruce Sutter. You know, during the ball game.
Yes, I remember that. That was one of the few saves that Bruce coughed up. That's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. Keith always used to tell us nobody could hit Sutter.
Sutter was Sutter was pretty much in the bank when he came in.
Do you get the splitter?
Yes, I did.
You hit it off the ground?
I hit it. Was one of them low ones, too, man. Yes, I did.
1-2 to Nunez, and Maine missing with a changeup.
What was your feeling when you were traded to Toronto? Were you...
I was disappointed, even though I had asked to be traded. That was the year before. I was disappointed because I thought that this was the place that I was going to play the rest of my career. But you know, I understood. I had a talk with Joe McIlvain, you know, and Frank, and it was an opportunity for me to go play. You know, it was the team was going another direction, and I wasn't part of that, you know, direction. Man, it worked out for me, but I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I was disappointed.
And that was at a time, you know, after a couple of years of trying to figure out whether you or Lenny were going to play center field, and within a couple of months, both of you got traded away.
Well, I think that really kind of put the nail in the coffin when both of us, you know, when Lenny left and then they brought someone else in to play that position, and you know, I said, well, that's, you know, that's writing the ball. You got to be able to read between the lines, you know. It's going in another direction. So it worked out. And they spoke with me about it, and they asked me where I didn't want to go, you know. So, but Toronto was a good team at the time. They needed someone to play the outfield, and I spoke with the GM at that point, and they had a specific job for me when I went over there.
On 3-2, Nunez fouls it off.
And so my job over there was to more than just play. They really had some young players that they, you know, wanted me to kind of, you know, be somewhat of a mentor for.
And of course, they were building toward a team that was going to win back-to-back World Series.
Yeah, they had a very young outfielder, Junior Felix. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
yes.
What talent! Oh, lots of talent.
And Maine, with back-to-back walks, fills the bases with Phillies.
What was the difference? Was there between playing in New York and Toronto?
The fans. No question about it. The fans. Now, don't get me wrong. Toronto had good fans, but they weren't as lively as, you know, the fans here in New York. And I think the fans in Toronto will wait for something to happen before they would cheer, as opposed to here. And it was good.
Cole Hamels grounds one down to Delgado, coming home for the force play, and that's all they'll get. And that's the first down.
Well, bases loaded here. In at the corners, you see Delgado. Broken bat hit right at him. Almost want to turn two here, but look how fast Hamels is. A lot of pitchers don't have that kind of speed running, and yes, that's a tailor-made double play.
Well, remember, he was the guy who got to third base on the late throw by Maine on the bunt play, as Aaron Seeley starts to get ready in the Mets bullpen, with Maine struggling here in the fourth. Here's Rollins, and Maine gets ahead of him. Well, here's a situation with Rollins batting left-handed. He got the bases loaded and one out. The Mets playing for the double play, but this is an awfully hard guy to double up.
So I'd be a little more inclined not to be in the corners here and just play back and let the third baseman play in, but get the first baseman back and just hope, you know, Rollins is fast. We're not going to get a double play, but he might just hit a bullet and you can double him up. It's only a 1-0 ball game. We're early in the game now. You open up a hole there, a base hit, all of a sudden it's 3-0.
Well, Maine hoping for a strikeout here because Rollins is so tough to double up. He's ahead of him 0-2. Hit hard, might be two. Valentin to Reyes, back to first. Double play, foul, retire. The Phillies have the bases loaded and nobody out, and they do not score. Tremendous job by Maine to get out of the jam. Hey, Mookie, good job.
It's great. Good things do happen when you're around us.
Great to see you, Mookie.
It's good being here.
So thanks to Mookie Wilson. We go to the bottom of the fourth, 1-0 Phils. We go to the bottom of the fourth here at Shea. Tremendous job by John Maine to get himself out of trouble in that last inning, as we check out today's SNY MLB text poll question of the day. Text 57508. Do you think Lasting's Millage should stay on the 25-man roster? A for yes, B for no. Mets will have to make a decision on Friday when Mike Pelfrey is activated. Carlos Beltran leads off against Cole Hamels and takes a strike. And the way Hamels has looked in this game so far, that effort by Maine getting out of that bases loaded jam looks huge.
Well, as a hitter, you go, you lucky son of a gun. I hit a bullet right at the second baseman.
But as a pitcher,
You'll say, thank you very much, Lord. You're shining on me today.
Beltran in discussion with the home plate umpire Bill Miller about that last call. 1-1 to Carlos. And Hamels with that changeup just has the hitters tied in knots. Spring has sprung. Oh, it's popcorn. I thought it was like a flower blossom. That's a wonderful shot.
I think Bill Webb's losing his mind.
So our director getting into a little psychedelia. Beltran pulls it foul.
Bill, hang in there now. We need you. It's a long year.
Carlos Delgado waiting on deck. Mets have had 3 hits off Hamels, but they've all been of the soft variety, including Delgado's unlikely bunt. At a broken bat bloop, Rollins hurrying in, has to play it on a hop, but he can't barehanded. And Beltran has an infield hit. So that's 4 hits for the Mets and another soft one.
Well, the changeup's making Carlos hang back. Look at where Rollins is playing. He gets jammed severely on an inside fastball. He got a little late break, you saw there. And the only hit chance he had was the bare hand with the speed of Beltran. And he may not have had him with the bare hand.
So much spin on that ball. It's tough to bare hand, isn't it?
That's what speed kills.
So now the Mets have the tying run aboard, and here's Delgado, and you see the infield not shifted.
Well, it's a little bit more. Remember last time we pointed it was this much? Not then, not now.
Delgado laid down a bunt to the left of the mound for a base hit his first time up. Then was erased in a double play.
Now, as a hitter here, I used to love that. I played in a lot of speed teams with Lou Brock in front of me and Gary Templeton. Runner on first. Lou told me, just go. You get a pitch to hit, swing. Don't worry about me. Don't take pitches for me. You're going to get a fastball here. Go to ripping.
And he rips one down the right field line. That's a big hit for Delgado. Beltran on his way to third. Delgado will stop at first, and the Mets have runners at the corners with nobody out. So Delgado, who got aboard with the bunt his first time off, this time pulls one down the line.
Ball away. Oh, nice hitting. It was a changeup and a pretty decent one. Not low enough. That was the difference. But Delgado staying back. Look at him stay back. Let go of one hand. Beautiful hitting. Beautiful balance.
Nice job by Victorino to cut that ball off and hold Delgado to a single. Now an RBI chance with Beltran at third, Delgado at first, and David Wright stepping in. David bounced into a double play his first trip. And Hamels misses high with the fastball. Mets yesterday went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position in Atlanta, including one situation in which they had Reyes at third and nobody out and couldn't get him in. Now they've got Beltran at third and nobody out. David Wright, back-to-back 100 RBI seasons. By the way, Piazza, you see what he just did against the Angels? There's a strike. 10 for 16 in the 4-game series.
Good for Mike.
I think he likes that DH thing.
I think since he's got married, he's a father, I think he's just more relaxed, getting out of the hype of New York.
Wright fights one off.
And you can see David is just not in his groove yet, and he's being overly cautious here. He's worried about the changeup, and he gets beat up and in. I think he's been swinging up too much, and it started the second half of the season. He's got to get back to a more level swing.
On 1-2, Hamels misses high with the fastball. Cole Hamels, just 23 years old, a native of San Diego. He's had all sorts of injury problems, and yet here he is at a very tender age, pitching like an ace. Got a big jam to work out of here, first and third and nobody out. And Wright takes the changeup in the dirt, 3-2. And Hamels in danger of loading the bases behind him. Great things have been expected from Cole Hamels since he was drafted 5 years ago, but an elbow problems, a broken hand that he suffered in a bar fight, hurt his shoulder last year.
3-2 changeup. I don't think Delgado's going.
Not running, and he struck him out.
Wow.
Hamels came right back with the change on 3-2. And he picks up his 4th strikeout. That's the first out of the inning.
Look at David's tap. He opens up. See, he's out in front. It's a good changeup. It's not a good swing. Completely fooled. And David is not off to a good start. It's just a matter of time for him.
And yet, he has a hit in every game.
Well, all good. We said it in Atlanta. All good hitters find a way.
In fact, David has an 18-game hitting streak coming into today, dating back to last year. They didn't used to count those things over the winter. Now apparently they do. Here's Alu trying to get that run in from third with 1 out. And he takes the changeup. Did he swing? They check it first, and Marvin Hudson says no, 1-0.
We've kind of seen our share of nice pitching duels here for a change. The game got so offensive in the 90s and early 2000s. I like a good pitch ball game by both sides.
And Hamels, staying with the off-speed stuff, gets even 1-1.
Well, it's not a strike. That's the key. It's just tough to see. You want to throw it away. You see where the catcher Ruiz came inside out of the strike zone. So he's, to me, the Mets are a very patient team offensively. He's got an exceptional changeup to get them swinging at so many bad pitches.
And that changeup, you know, you talked about the arm speed, but it seems like it's got tremendous movement side to side on it, more than your average straight change.
And he must be taking just the right amount of mileage off. There's a point where you can take too much off or too little off. The in-between is perfect.
2-1 to Alu. 1st and 3rd and 1 out. And he fouls it away.
So you can see all these defensive swings the hitters are making. He throws his fastball up and in to right-hand hitters, and then throws the changeup away. And it's up and in. Look at everybody's been tardy. David Wright's been tardy. So he's got the Mets baffled right now.
Well, Hamels struck out Wright with runners at 1st and 3rd. Now he's 2-2 on Alu. And a little check swing. It's a foul ball. Right in the batter's box. Had it been fair, the Phillies might have had a chance for a double play.
Well, he doubled up on fastball in. Completely tied him up again. And he's lucky that ball stayed foul.
Now Lou hit a weak pop up to the mound his first time up. Mets have 5 hits, but 4 of the 5 have been of the scratch variety. Delgado has the only hard hit ball that came a moment ago. On 2-2, Alu jumps out of the way of the changeup, and it's 3-2.
Well, you got David Wright on a 3-2 changeup. Is he going to back it up again?
Do you run Delgado here to try and stay out of the double play?
I wouldn't run Delgado. I don't want to strike him out, throw him out of the inning. Don't want that.
3-2 to Alu, not running. He struck him out with a changeup. Alu figuring that pitch was going to be inside, but Hamels found the inside corner to the satisfaction of Bill Miller.
He wants it away. He threw it in, and look what it does. It freezes the hitter. I'm telling you, this is some impressive pitching.
Well, in the top of this inning, the Phillies loaded the bases with nobody out, and John Maine got out of it with a force at home and a double play. Here in the bottom of the 4th, the Mets with 1st and 3rd and nobody out, and now Hamels with back-to-back strikeouts of Wright and Alu. And it's left to Sean Green, who flied to center his first trip. And Sean moves out of the way of the fastball.
Well, John Maine has had 2 brushback pitches, and here's Hamels right here. Nothing wrong with this. Hamels might be kind of a pitcher you want to throw more left-handers against. It kind of neutralizes the changeup.
Misses with the fastball, and it's 2-0 to Green. I said it earlier, you've got 2 young pitchers here. It could be a factor in this division for a long time to come. Maine just 25 years old, Hamels just 23, and they've both been so impressive. Oh. There's a strike, 2-1.
Let me tell you something right there. That's a changeup with a little bit of a cut to it. 2-0, and look at the spot, Gare.
Oh, think about that side-to-side movement. It's almost like a slider.
You got to take it.
And he misses with a fastball, and now it's 3-1. If Green walks, then Valentin would come up with the bases loaded. Valentin not as good right-handed as he is left-handed.
He's got a big hole between short and second. Fastball away.
And on 3-1, Green takes the fastball away, ball 4, and the Mets have the bases loaded. The first walk given up by Hamels, who walked only 1 in 7 innings in his first start against Atlanta. So now a chance for Valentin, who has struggled early in the season. You see the batting average, just 3 for 24. And just 1 run batted in.
Boy, what a beautiful day it turned out to be.
You said that just as the sun went behind the clouds, you know.
It'll come back out.
You're a ray of sunshine all by yourself.
Oh, thanks, Garrett.
Here's Valentin, who took a call third strike his first time up. Bases loaded, 2 down. And he pulls one foul outside the bag.
He's got ahead with a fastball in. From the right side of the plate, Valentin's a nice little belt high and up hitter. And that's where he can hurt. He can hurt you, but he got it in enough and jammed him.
Valentin hit a double down the line against Mark Redmond on Friday night in Atlanta on just that kind of a pitch. Batting right-handed. Hit hard toward the hole, base hit. In to score is Beltran to tie it. Delgado heading home. The throw by Burrell to the plate. The slide. Save, and the Mets take the lead. Tremendous slide by Delgado to beat the tag by Ruiz. Charlie Manuel out to argue it. Valentin with a 2-run single to put the Mets in front 2-1.
Well, he beat the flat. The nice throw by Burrell, a little wide of the line. If the throw's on line, he's safe. Watch him sneak his hand in. Yes, good call. Nice slide. Sean Green should have gone to third. Automatic there on the throw.
That was a very inventive slide by Delgado. Look how far inside the line he came to hit the plate.
Well, he knew the throw was left of the plate, and that is good improvisation right there.
Real close.
Tight.
Did he have him on the arm there before that finger hit the plate?
That's a tough one. Close play. Let's see. This is a good shot right here. He's in. He's in.
Yep, he got it.
He's in. That's a good call by the umpire. Home plate umpire Bill Miller.
And that's a great shot, Billy Webb and our camera folks. That is the definitive shot. I mean, you talk about splitting hairs. He just got his finger in there.
And also Hamels made a mistake with a fastball up and over the middle.
Here's John Maine, who had a base hit his first time up. And the fastball thrown by him. Well, the Mets got the first 2 guys on. Beltran with a little broken bat infield hit, and Delgado with a single down the line. Hamels came back to strike out right now, Lou, but Green walked to keep it going, and Valentin cashed in. A 2-out, 2-run single to put the Mets in front. Green at second, Valentin at first, and Maine takes a fastball high, 1-2. That's something we have not seen before from Delgado, which makes 2 things we had never seen before from Delgado today. He had the bunt single his first time up, and Maine goes down swinging to end the inning. Hamels strikes out 3 in the inning, but the Mets grab the lead on the clutch hit by Jose Valentin, as he gets Beltran and Delgado home in inventive fashion to give the Mets a 2-1 lead. Take mass transit to Shea as the series with the Phillies continues Wednesday and Thursday nights at 7:10. Tickets start at just $5. Then the Nationals come to New York Friday for a 3-game set. Go to Mets.com today for your Mets tickets. John Maine now with the lead for the first time as Shane Victorino leads off the 5th, and he takes a strike. Maine worked out of a bases loaded none-out jam in the top of the 4th, and the Mets got him the lead in the bottom of the 4th. Victorino pounds one foul, and it's 0-2.
Ronnie, you're back.
Yeah, I was just on a little scouting trip.
Scouting what?
Hot dog? Like, you know, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you.
Hot dogs?
The food room is packed. It must be opening day.
Which food room?
The cafeteria.
Oh, okay.
Our cafeteria.
We were worried about you.
It was nice to have Mookie here, though, isn't it? It's always great to have Mookie.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites.
Yep, one of the Mets' favorites. Got to be top 5 all time, Mookie Wilson.
And Victorino takes on the inside corner. Strike 3 call. So 1 out and nobody on. Time for a baseball day in New York update. Let's go to the studio in New York.
All right, Gary, in Cleveland, another doubleheader against the Mariners canceled due to the snow. Cleveland's next series with the Angels has been moved to Milwaukee, where they're going to play under a roof. Disastrous situation baseball-wise in Cleveland. Gary.
Are you kidding me? They're moving the series to Milwaukee? I've never heard of such a thing.
If they had the Dome Stadium, they couldn't do that, but that's pretty funny.
Why did the Pioneers, the history, why did the Pioneers build a city in Cleveland? I don't understand.
Well, how about Buffalo?
I don't understand.
Didn't they know it was warmer further south?
Jeez.
It's not called a mistake by the lake for no reason.
Jeez.
2-0 to Chase Utley.
Oh, that's got to be cold up there. That's in the upper deck. That's Bucher's up there.
Unfortunately, the wind is not blowing quite as hard as it might have today as Maine falls behind Utley 3-0. And in the sun, it's kind of nice. But in the shade, it was 43 at game time today. And Utley takes a strike 3-1.
Soccer.
Always nice when you can be off from school on a Monday. Some kids have off from school today. Some are playing hooky. To left field, hit well. Alou back near the wall, looking up, and it's out of here. Chase Utley with an opposite field home run, his first home run of the year, and it ties the game at 2-2. Utley making like Ryan Howard going the other way. So Utley has driven in both runs for the Phillies, and they've gotten back even.
Well, a high fastball got behind in the count, got into a hitter's count 3-1. And it's outside corner, but it's up. Look at that. Beautiful. That is just sweet. And I tell you what, I always felt, Gary, I said it before, when you show the flag blowing out to right field, it comes in and swoops around. This is a real high upper deck. It comes in and swirls around with the flags blowing to left field. On line drives like that, the wind swirls around the ballpark and blows out to left.
And I wonder whether all that construction out beyond center field will have any effect on the wind patterns here as the season goes along.
I said it before, and Rusty corrected me, of course. Orange, all perfect, all knowing.
That's what he
Karnak.
does.
Rusty said, but Keith, when the wind blows out to right, you get it up in the air, it'll carry. The line drive, yes. It catches the swirl in the opposite direction.
And Maine behind again, 3-0 now to Ryan Howard. Maine's thrown a lot of pitches here. Over his 4 1/3, he's up to 90 pitches.
So he's not going to be happy with his walks.
And he walks Ryan Howard on 4 pitches. That's the 5th walk given up by John Maine. He walked the 7 and 8 hitters back to back in the 4th inning. Got out of that jam. Now he gives up a home run to Utley and walks Howard.
Well, it kind of shows you what has happened to John when he doesn't have those perfect kind of games. These are the things that happen. He'll have a perfect inning and then walk 2 on 9 pitches. He'll get a guy out and then he'll give up a home run to Utley and a walk on 4 pitches. You know, those are the kind of things I think concentration-wise that Peterson and Maine, as Rick Peterson goes out, are trying to work on.
Well, Aaron Seeley was up in the bullpen a little bit earlier, and now his Maine struggles again here in the 5th inning. Rick Peterson talks to him to try and get him settled down. Time now for our Aflac trivia question. The only Met to hit a walk-off home run in a home opener.
I know it.
You're about 100% so far this year.
You know it too.
I do. I was here.
We were in uniform.
I don't know it.
Really?
Nope.
Would you fallen asleep on us?
Oh no, now I remember.
Okay. Well, who then? Come on.
It was his first day as a Met.
Yes. Correct.
As you saw Ambiorix Burgos up in the bullpen. I wasn't here.
You weren't there?
No.
When did you? That's right.
85? No.
That's right. You never were here when I played. You came after me.
No, I came here last year in '89.
When I stunk.
Yeah, you weren't very good.
I was hurt.
But you had been good. I had respected you for that.
I was hurt. I broke my kneecap that year, remember?
You and, well, this guy, it was both your last year in New York. Nothing in Teterboro.
You were gone that year too, Ronnie?
No, he was there.
I was there. I was gone.
When did you get traded?
91.
Okay.
That was Maine now ahead on Burrell 0-2. Got Burrell out, popped him up with the bases loaded to end the third. Hit on the ground through the hole, and a base hit for Burrell, his second of the day. Howard will stop at second. So things not going well for John Maine. He's been able to get out of a couple of big jams the last 2 innings, but now the Phillies poised to try and regain the lead with Carlos Ruiz coming up.
I don't think I've ever seen Burrell try to go the opposite field like that in any situation. That is a first.
You know, his first hit was a ball to sign at center field, so maybe Burrell's trying to work on going back up the middle.
Well, Burrell's now hitting over 400 for the season, and maybe that's why. Here's Ruiz. That's hoping to turn 2 as Ruiz takes a strike. Ruiz has struck out and singled to right. Phillies now with 5 hits off John Maine to go with those 5 walks. In the air to center field, and Beltran has to move back. That's the second out. Howard thought about tagging, stumbled, and stayed where he was.
Well, they pay him to hit. But he should have tagged up in the get-go. You can read and know that Beltran's a Gold Glover. He's under the ball, and you know it's just not proper preparation there. You got it. He knows. You saw the expression there, and
well, he's a guy that's used to trotting around the bases, not sprinting around the bases.
You get to third base with 2 outs. Yep. A wild pitch, you score.
Yeah. Also, there's no guarantee that he's scoring from second on a base hit with 2 out.
Also, Carlos Beltran is trained that ball goes into second base because he wants to keep that runner at first from advancing.
Here's Aaron Rowan, who's been up twice and walked both times. And he takes up an in, ball 1. Well, at this point, I think Willie Randolph will be thrilled if Maine can get himself through this 5th inning with the game tied and hand it over to the bullpen for the 6th. Two and 0 now to Rowan.
Not much in that fastball neither right there. 86 miles an hour.
And really today, that's been the story for Maine. Normally he's in the low 90s, but he's topped out about 88 today.
Very nice.
2-1 to Rowan.
You know, it might be as simple as John Maine. One of the things that's a strength for him is that he has a real long arm action, and that's one of the reasons that the ball jumps on the hitters. But also when you have a long arm action like that, it's hard to get it in the same position all the time to be able to consistently throw strikes.
2-1. Rowan fouls it back.
He's not afraid to throw his fastball. No. That's why I like John Maine. You know what? I had a lot of plate. It's like I'm struggling. This has been really a laboring game for him. He's labored, and it's been a gutty performance. If he gets out of this, it's been a very gutty performance. But he's not afraid to throw that cheddar.
On 2-2, Rowan watches it wide, and it's 3-2. So the runners will be off, with Nunez waiting on deck. Howard at second, Burrell at first, set to run with 3-2 and 2 down. Little dribbler, foul. The patch on the Phillies sleeve in honor of their fallen coach, John Vukovic, who passed away this spring.
One of the great guys, a Phil, true and blue.
Fisted foul, and Rowan hanging in there.
Vukovic played all of his career in Philadelphia, didn't he? Then he wound up coaching third base for years. He managed, I think, one year, just when someone got fired, I forget what year, just for a half a season. He wanted that managerial job with the Phillies and never got it.
Is it John Felsky that he took over for when he got fired?
I think so.
Wound up in the front office and beat brain cancer once, but eventually came back and got him. And Maine, missing badly, walks Rowan for the 3rd time. And now the bases are loaded. Well, the Phillies have already stranded 6. And Maine is hoping to strand 3 more, but he may not get the chance because Willie Randolph is on his way out to the mound, and that's going to be all for Maine. And it's going to be up to Ambiorix Burgos to get the Mets out of this jam. So Maine is done after 4 2/3, having worked out of several major jams already. He leaves with a score tie. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home.
Wagner delivers. Line toward the gap in left center field. That's a base hit for Vidro. Beltran cuts it off. Vidro trying for 2. The throw by Beltran, the slide. Out of the ball game is over. Billy Wagner saves it, and the Mets have a 1-run victory on opening day.
That was opening day last year. Now Ambiorix Burgos comes into a tight spot on opening day 07, and Abraham Nunez fouls the first one away.
Well, Ron, the first big test for Ambiorix.
You know, it's good, though. First couple of outings, he's been in there when the game has been out of hand. The Mets have been ahead. He's gone in. He's done a great job here. Thrown to the fire. First time opening day for the Mets.
Hasn't allowed a base runners so far. He's got 3 on behind him. And it grounded down to Delgado. Burgos gets over to cover, but Delgado takes it himself. And Burgos gets a big out to save 3 for John Maine. Phillies tied on the Utley home run, 2-2 after 5. Wednesday, the Mets play host to Howard, Utley, and the division rival Phillies at Shea on the Kia Wednesday game of the week. Mets-Phillies coverage begins Wednesday at 6:30, only on Sportsnet New York. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, let's answer our Aflac trivia question. Only Met to hit a walk-off home run in the home opener. Of course, it was the kid. 10th inning off Neil Allen, 1985, in his first game at Shea as a Met. Jose Reyes leads off the home 5th, pops it up. And this time Cole Hamels asking for help. Nunez and Howard, and they collide, and Reyes winds up at second base. And he dives back in safely. And Nunez is hurt. He had 260 pounds of Ryan Howard smack into him as he was trying to catch that pop-up on the mound. And Nunez is still down.
Boy, this almost, Gary, looks like those basketball injuries, right? When you go up for a rebound, get that elbow in the head.
That right elbow of Howard smacked him right on the side of the helmet, of the hat.
Oh!
Into the cheek.
That's a forearm shiver.
And how about Reyes? Never stops playing. Always running hard.
He's a hustler.
He was thinking about third. He almost went a little too far. They're going to call an error on Ryan Howard for running into Nunez just as Nunez was about to catch that ball, and good to see Abraham Nunez up on his feet.
Well, the Phillies defense has been a nemesis of them thus far this year.
I mean, the reaction was interesting when that ball went up, because remember, Hamels caught a pop-up earlier in the game, but he was searching for help from the moment that ball went in the air.
Well, you got it. You got a voice. You got to scream and shout and call it off. Call the ball, call for the ball, and scream, and that stuff won't happen.
Nunez will next time.
Can I tell you, though, pitcher can play a big part in that. When guys are starting to run together, it's really noisy in the ballpark. You can scream one person's name louder than anyone else's, just one person's name, and that'll get everyone away from that pop-up.
So now the tie-breaking run at second, and Loduca trying to move Reyes over. That was the first one back.
A vicious cut right there. You know, Loduca goes the other way so well here. And this is a cut. That's a rip.
Every once in a while, I think he looks for an extra base hit.
Well, they put the bunt down here. Give him, most managers might give you one pitch to swing at and then put the bunt on. The Phillies are playing very not aggressively in.
And he bunts it foul. So Loduca, who homered against John Smoltz on Saturday afternoon, is looking perhaps to hit one a long way against Hamels. Then he couldn't get the bunt down. Get Beltran on deck.
Yeah, not a bad idea, because if you want to bunt, you want to push that towards Ryan Howard. He's a big guy, doesn't move that quickly, and he also has had already this year many throwing problems.
Well, let's watch Loduca shorten up now and just really give himself up to get the runner over. There you go.
And he grounds it to the right side. Perfectly done. Reyes moves to third as Loduca with the textbook advancing ground out.
Well, all the talk about hitting David Wright second in the second position. Loduca, we've seen him do this a lot. Inside out that ball, hit it right at the second baseman. With 0-2 count, he has that kind of back control. Look at that inside out, Ronnie. Didn't get it in enough, just missed. Very nice. That doesn't show up in the scorecard.
And now Beltran will try and get the run in with the infield in. Hamels has struck out 6, and he'll be looking for a strikeout here. 2-2 in the 5th, and Beltran fouls it back.
Well, this is a good angle right here. Watch him bring his right hand, lead hand. See how he brings it into his body, and that's the inside out. That's a classic inside out swing where you kind of shift your front lead hand elbow in, and the bat stays level behind. Ground ball, second base.
Beltran ignores, and it's 1-1.
That was a great angle right there.
It was.
On being 0-2 emergency stance, this part, middle of the game, get the runner over. Loduca does that so well.
We've had some great shots today, haven't we? 2-1 to Beltran. Carlos had an infield hit his last time up. Broke his bat. Rollins came in to try and barehand it, but couldn't make the play, and Beltran wound up scoring the first Met run. And he takes it for a strike. That changeup with so much movement on it.
That was just nasty. As you can see, this one he turns over. This is his curveball. Yeah, down and in. 2-1. Beltran hasn't seen one all game.
That's his third best pitch. And the fastball he overthrows, and it's 3-2.
He uses his curveball, but it's like his third pitch. He's a fastball changeup guy, and once in a while he'll spin that curve in there.
So now it's 3-2 to Beltran. We'll see how aggressive he is. You got Delgado on deck with the infield in here. And he walked it. And with the changeup on 3-2. And now that sets up the double play possibility. Second walk given up by Hamels. But Delgado has hit the ball harder than anybody today. Hit one hard down the right field line his last time up after bunting for a base hit back in the second.
What are the infielders doing here? They're talking about situations. If the Mets try to do something first and third, which is not going to happen, well, Delgado batting.
Well, of course, you got Reyes at third, which means the third baseman can't play that far off the line.
Well, you're not going to squeeze here. You're going for 2 here because any ball on the ground, Delgado's a double play guy.
Well,
so you're going to pitcher going from the stretch. I mean, Reyes is not going to steal home.
Now you see Nunez at least creeping toward Reyes so he can't get too big of a lead at third. And Reyes makes a little bit of a break as Hamels checks in on Beltran. It's so dangerous, and you've got to be so concerned with Reyes if you're the Phillies in this spot.
Yeah, and if your
third baseman's watching Reyes, he'll say, "There he goes," and the pitcher will shorten up and throw a pitch out. It's just, you got the big bomb up here. You don't want to steal.
Delgado lifts one to center field. Moving over is Rowan. Reyes should be able to tag and score easily. And so Rowan's throw goes to second, and the Mets regain the lead on the sacrifice fly by Delgado. It's 3-2 New York. The Mets executing in this inning. Reyes running hard on the pop-up that fell. Loduca with the advancing ground out, and Delgado gets the run in.
Delgado, look at that level swing. Ball out over the plate. And of course Reyes, forget about it. He's going to score easily, but Delgado now is starting to get his groove back a little bit. This is an unearned run. Beltran sees that it's caught and then tags up just to see if he tries to throw it over his head.
Beltran takes off. Hamels hasn't picked off Howard's throw just in time. Beltran almost beat it, but Rollins got the tag down to end the inning. But the Mets cash in an unearned run. Hamels ends the inning by picking off Beltran. It's 3-2 New York. Sixth inning, and Cole Hamels leads off against Ambiorix Burgos, who came on to get the final out in the fifth, and now has himself a 3-2 lead.
8 walks in this ball game, 6 issued by Maine.
Well, Maine leaves with a no decision on a day when he didn't pitch well at all, and he had held the damage to just 2 runs. 11 base runners in 4 2/3, and only 2 of them scored. But that's kind of the way it's going for the Phillies right now. They're having trouble getting the big hit, and they've already left 9 runners on base in the first 5 innings. Burgos behind 3-0 to the opposing pitcher, and he throws a strike to Hamels.
Well, Burgos, of course, I just don't know. You see the defense there. Why they traded. Kansas City would let Burgos go with his arm.
Weekly hit. Valentine gets in front of it. Hamels can run. Valentine throws him out. We've seen that on a couple of occasions already today. Time for our Jeep around the majors. Big Poppy, couple of home runs last night. See Jonathan Papelbon close that game.
Yes.
Very impressive. Hideki Matsui, strained hamstring, goes on the disabled list for the Yankees. And Johan Santana, 9 strikeouts in 7 innings in 36-degree weather in Chicago.
Boy, Matsui, after starting 1,786 consecutive games in Japan and with the Yankees now 2 years in a row. Wrist last year and the hamstring.
Well, Kaz Matsui had the same thing. He had that long streak in Japan and then got hurt as soon as he came here. By the way, Kaz Matsui's off to a great start with Colorado. Jimmy Rollins takes ball 1. Rollins 0 for 2 and a walk. Came up with the bases loaded and 1 out in the 4th, and hit one hard, but right at Valentine, who started a double play to get Maine out of that 4th inning. Oh, and he bounces one into the leg of Rollins. That's a hit batsman. Even if you get hit on a hop, it still counts.
That wasn't the mayor of Cincinnati, was it? It's close.
Nowhere to go.
The right fielder, Shea Victorino.
You know, you don't mind Burgos being a little wild.
Yeah, but that was the first split finger he threw, so I held on to it just a little too long.
He's got to watch out for Rollins here. He's a definite stolen base threat.
Rollins has just 1 steal so far this year, and Burgos keeping an eye on him.
It's like Victorino's going to get a chance to play a lot this year. I like him. He's got good speed.
He's their regular right fielder now. Rollins not going, and Burgos misses high. Rollins had 36 steals last year. Looking like a state trooper with those reflector shades. Could you step out of the car?
Yeah, license and registration, please.
Hands on the steering wheel.
Rollins got a little different look under that helmet too now. Curls are gone. He's gone with the shaved look. Hardly recognized him when I saw him yesterday.
You and I were watching a show the other day. It was he and CC Sabathia and Carl Crawford. They were talking about the dearth of African-American ball players.
8%.
8%. Is that stunning?
It is stunning.
1-0 to Victorino. And he bloops one. And that's going to fall in for a base hit. And Rollins will go to third. And the Phillies have runners at the corners with one out, with Utley and Howard coming up. And so Philadelphia with yet another chance.
Well, a big hang with them here. And good pitch down and in. Jammed him, but sometimes you can see right now that just no one's going to have a chance. They're shading Beltran here, shading to left center field. That's in the gap, and that's just a nice little L wedge right there.
L wedge.
So Rollins the tying run at third, Victorino at first, and he's got base stealing ability. And here's Utley, who's driven in both runs for the Phillies with a sac fly and an opposite field home run. And he rips one down the line, foul. Well, Utley last time up in the 5th inning against John Maine got ahead in the count 3-1.
And got a high fastball outside corner, went right with it. Nice. He's a hitter.
He's a complete player.
Burgos could use a ground ball here. Checks in on Victorino.
It's a nice little 1-2 in the top of the order for Philly with Speed, Rollins, and Victorino. Puts the pressure on a pitcher.
Ambiorix Burgos, not yet 23 years old. He'll turn 23 next week. As capable of hitting 100 on the radar gun, but Rick Peterson would prefer that he not. And he dialed it back a little bit. Stay in control. Gave up a ton of home runs last year with the Royals. And Utley waving at the breaking ball. And it's 0-2.
Well, he definitely has the advantage with this split finger because these Philly hitters have not seen it. Look at that. Now I'm going to take that back. It looks more like a slider to me. Down and into Utley.
He's got both of them to go with that fastball.
Let's take a look at Utley, 2-strike hitting here. Deep in the hole. Fly ball ties the game. See how he shortens up here.
First and third and one out. There goes Victorino, and the pitch in the dirt, and Victorino steals second, so that takes the double play out of order and puts the lead run in scoring position. Pedro Feliciano, the left-hander, Joe Smith, the right-hander, up in the bullpen as Burgos looks to work out of trouble. It's 1-2 to Utley. And the Mets will keep the infield back and concede the tying run on a ground ball to try and keep the Phillies from grabbing the lead. And now LeDuc out for a conversation.
Don't you think, Keith, in this situation, it really isn't Burgos calling the game. You see Ryan Howard looming on deck. It is Paul LeDuc's game. He's the one that is calling the pitches, deciding what Burgos is going to do to try to get out Utley.
I cannot say enough good things about Paul LeDuc. It's just, I said it before, he manages this pitching staff. What a great pickup for the Mets.
Burgos looking for the strikeout. Ahead 1-2. Breaking ball foul.
What were we saying before the game, Ron? Sorry, Gary. Paul LeDuc can play on our team any day of the week.
Yeah, he's just a winner. You know, there's a lot of stuff you look at and you say, hey, he only drove in this many, or he only scored this many. It doesn't matter. He's a winner, and you can tell a winner. You might not be able to describe what a winner is, but you can tell when you watch him play.
Well, we saw that in the last half inning with that advancing ground out, sacrificing himself. And you know that you talk to the stat hounds and they'll tell you that's a bad play.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad play. It gave the Mets the lead.
They can stay in their laboratory with their stats, do whatever they want to do.
Well, I mean, stats are worthwhile,
yes,
but there are certain
are.
times that you have to watch the game.
Yeah. Feel for the game.
1-2 to Utley.
Oh,
just missed the inside corner. 2-2.
That was the pitch to make right there, and he missed. After all the pitches away, look at LaDuca set up in. That would have locked him up.
It did lock him up. If he had to push that over 3 inches to the right, that'd have been strike 3.
Now what do you come back with?
Well, you got a split finger. I'd double up myself.
Yeah. You can always go 3-2 with the base open with the split finger.
Going away.
On 2-2, Utley manages to waste that one away.
Now, I mentioned to watch Utley 0-2. He's fouled off around 3 pitches, 0-2 to stay in this at bat. He is such a good hitter.
Great speed with Rollins at third and Victorino at second. They'll score on just about any base hit. That's clinging to a 3-2 lead as the Phillies bat in the 6th. Home opener at Shea, and it's been an entertaining game to watch. John Maine worked out of jam after jam, and now Ambiorix Burgos trying to do the same.
One of my tricks.
I was laughing when I saw that.
Look for an excuse to step out. You got a guy out there pretending you got something in your eye. Everybody thought I was peeking. It's not. I just wanted an excuse to step out.
And Utley bounces another breaking ball foul.
And I don't think enough hitters do that. I think that it really does upset your timing as a pitcher. When you're going along really well, and a hitter, experienced hitter, knows and says it's going to step out occasionally. It kind of takes away your rhythm.
You mean there really wasn't something in your eye?
Oh no, I fake that all the time.
You had us all fooled.
Fake. Don't let the pitcher in a jam dictate when he wants to pitch.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at bat to Utley, and he pops it up foul, and that'll go back in the crowd.
It's a heck of a battle here. As I take my 2 Excedrin, I got a splitting headache.
You're wilting under the pressure of throwing that first pitch out.
It's tough when you have a headache and you got these earphones on your ears.
Yeah.
It doesn't help your headache.
Delgado trying to calm Burgos down in his Shea Stadium debut. We'll try and keep the noise down so it doesn't pound your head.
Just keep the music off. Play the organ. You make me very happy.
You got no chance. Staying warm and cool at the same time.
How's a Budweiser keep you warm?
10th pitch coming up to Utley, 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Ooh, just barely got a piece. Well, Utley having himself a monumental time at bat, and LaDuca got nicked by that one.
Well, just a good pitch, good slider, good spot, down and in. Hits LaDuca on the toe, it looked like. It's frustrating, you know, when you're out there pitching, and Burgos is one of those guys that he's trying to make his mark. He's trying to prove to Willie Randolph he belongs in these pressure situations, and he's made pitch after pitch after pitch. Great hitters do that to pitchers until they can get one of those pitchers that can handle.
That was a tough pitch to stay in the at bat.
This will be the 11th pitch to Utley with 2 in scoring position, and again he steps out.
I have a feeling Utley's going to be a future batting champion.
Howard waiting. Pitch to Utley. It's inside, and LaDuca boxes it, but chases it down, so Rollins has to stay at third.
And there's another fastball, Ron, inside corner that just missed, and if he got it, he would have had him.
Yeah, he definitely froze him. And you know what happened to LaDuca right there? He is trying to just pull that ball in at the last second to try to get that frame and just hit off the outer part of that web.
Well, this is an all-day affair, Burgos and Utley, with Rollins at third and Victorino at second. 1 out, 6th inning, 3-2 New York. The 12th pitch of the at-bat upcoming. Struck him out! Ambiorix Burgos on the 12th pitch gets Utley to foul tip one into LaDuca's glove, and there are 2 out of the inning. What a job by Burgos.
Well, just a great split finger. Bottom dropped out of that. And Utley thought he foul tipped it. and that it hit the dirt. We'll see here after the tip. He didn't tip it either, and it never did hit the dirt, as LaDuca made a nice play on that. Nice pitching by Burgos.
So now they're 2 away, and now Willie Randolph's going to go out to the mound to talk about whether they're going to walk Ryan Howard with first base open.
Like we talked about it earlier in the game when Willie opted to pitch to him. This is later in the game here. This might want to. I'd give him a pass here.
Is that an earn your stripes moment for Burgos?
Yeah, Willie has shown it that he will do these little things early in the season where he wants you to show him that you belong out there. And he makes those decisions as he goes along, and some pass the test and some don't.
Well, they're going to pitch to Howard, who is 0 for 2 in a walk today. Phillies have already stranded 9 over the first 5 innings. 2 in scoring position for Howard. And Burgos with a split, 1-0. Howard drove in 148 last year, but off to a slow start. Gets ahead of him with a breaking ball, and it's 1-1.
Well, you see there his young career, Rookie of the Year, MVP, followed by MVP, 58 home runs. I mean, almost 60.
Split by Burgos, and it's 1-2.
And don't forget, he probably would have been in the big leagues as we see this split from Burgos. He would have been in the big leagues probably earlier. He owned the minor leagues, but Jim Thome was playing first base for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Now Burgos with the crowd on his side. Ahead on Howard, 1-2. He reaches for it and stays in the at-bat.
Well, Howard is so strong, and he goes the other way so naturally, can inside out. After that swing right there, Ronnie, 1-2, he's a defensive swing. You think he's set up inside. You can see right here that he's fooled. Very defensive swing, that he might be vulnerable inside, but he's so strong he might hit a dork out in the left field.
This is a big spot for the Phillies, off to a 1-5 start, and Howard pops it up. It'll head out of play. I mean, here they are coming into Shea, 1-5 on the year. They've had opportunity after opportunity. They're down by a run. They get 2 in scoring position for their 3 and 4 hitters. Burgos outlasts Utley in a 12-pitch marathon, and now trying to put Howard away. It's a real statement moment for both teams. Overthrows the breaking ball, and it's 2-2.
Well, that was set up there. He threw the up and in fastball the pitch prior, Ron, and he overthrows this splitter or a breaking ball.
I think it's a breaking ball. What happens, pitchers sometimes want to snap one off, want to make it the nastiest pitch you ever threw, and what happens a lot of times, it becomes a spinner.
Come back inside.
I like inside. I like up and in. Make him chase something up out of the strike zone.
On 2-2. Into the air to deep right field. Back goes Green, back near the wall, and it's out of here. Ryan Howard with his first home run of the year, a 3-run shot, and it gives the Phillies a 5-3 lead. With the Phillies struggling to get runners in, they turn to their big guy, who comes from behind in the count to hit a 3-run bomb to give the Phillies the lead.
Well, Keith, a lot of times what happens for a pitcher is that you fall in love with your breaking pitches because they're swing and miss kind of pitches.
Well, you said it right there, Ronnie. You said back inside with something upstairs, up and in. Burgos threw either the breaking ball or the splitter, and it just laid up out over the plate. And you got to tip your hat to Ryan Howard there behind the count. It's a fine at bat.
Burrell is 2 for 3 on the day, and he takes ball 2. Well, Ryan Howard sucked the air out of this joint in a hurry, didn't he?
He did.
He's some young player. Two and 1 to Burrell.
You know, what happens a lot of times is that it's hard to throw good breaking balls over and over. Ball with one down. Good breaker there. 2 in a row. And he didn't throw only one fastball, so he never sped up his bat. And then with this one, when you throw one that hangs in the middle, it just speeds up those big hitters' bats. When he has a swing like that, you're in trouble.
You saw the last pitch right there. That was just a helicopter splitter right down the pipe in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about those splitters. They just sit right in the middle of the plate like they're on a tee.
Look at that. Right there. Didn't get away enough. And a lazy break. It wasn't the sharp break.
2-2 to Burrell. And he just missed with the split. And it's 3-2. So Burgos, who was just about on the brink of getting out of a big jam, struck out Utley, got to 2 strikes on Howard, but couldn't put him away. It's in there for a call, strike 3. Got him looking at the splitter to end the inning, but the Phillies grabbed the lead on the Ryan Howard 3-run homer. The Mets will try and fight back in the bottom of the 6th with David Wright, Moises Alou, and Sean Green set to bat against Cole Hamels. Someone got himself a home run ball. David Wright leads off and takes a strike from Cole Hamels, who now has himself a 2-run lead. Wright has grounded into a double play and struck out today. And Hamels throws a fastball by Wright, and it's 0-2.
Well, let's just watch how Hamels does here. Good pitchers late in the game, when they get that lead, they shut the door.
Was the radar gun correct on that last one? Is it 84?
That's can't be right on a fastball.
Yeah,
can't be right.
And you know, Gary, you mentioned that he's a young ace, and you don't give that to many pitchers, but you're right. He's one of those guys that be interesting to see, like he said, if he can shut the door down. That's what young good pitchers do.
Well, all the Koufax, the Gibsons, the Greg Maddux.
Dwight Gooden, when I was here the first couple of years, the game was over.
Tight game like this, and you give them the lead in the 6th or 7th, it's in the bank.
And how many guys do that at age 23? I mean, you mentioned Doc. Obviously, he was an exception, but at this young age, to be trusted with that kind of ace moniker, as Wright pops it up, Utley retreating, Victorino in, and that's the first out. So 1 out and nobody on. Time for a baseball day in New York update. Let's check in with Matt Yellow.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. Cardinals and Pirates going at it. Scott rolling right through the box. Albert Pujols comes in to put the first run of the game on the board. It's Braden Looper against Ian Snell. 1-0 Cards in the 7th, Gary.
How about Braden Looper?
So far, the experiment of moving Looper to the rotation is working very nicely for the Cardinals. He's been terrific in his first 2 starts, as Moises Alou takes ball 1.
Well, listen, Hamels is a San Diego kid. He's confident. Spring training, they asked him, what do you expect this year? You know, would you like to pitch a few innings, get 30 starts? He said, no, 20 wins. That's what I want to do this year. I want to win 20 games.
It's always those Southern California guys.
They just chill, brother. You know, relax.
They get too wiped out in too many waves.
Well, he's taken things a little more seriously ever since breaking his hand in a bar fight a few years ago, which really set his career back. And, you know, you look at all the things that have happened to him as you look at his pitch count up to 90 now. He's had elbow problems, shoulder problems, the broken hand, and yet here he is 23 and pitching successfully in the big leagues. And he walks Alou on 4 pitches. That'll get the tying run to the plate now in a 5-3 game. 3rd walk given up by Hamels.
I just think looking at Hamels when you watch him, Keith, if you're in the field behind him, you love that he works quickly. He throws strikes. He doesn't have any fear. He goes after the hitters, pitches inside. All those kind of things, you know, it makes you confident in your pitcher when he does that. As they're Philadelphia Phillies are calling down to the bullpen, get someone loose.
Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, with Hamels up over 90 pitches and trying to nurse a 5-3 lead. It's been quite a ball game.
Lots happened, right?
It's the 9th walk in the game.
Here's Green, and he takes the fastball in tight.
9 walks with a hit batsman.
And there's John Lieber, who was just activated off the disabled list today. He had been out with an oblique muscle strain, and Lieber now is a reliever. New role for him. There's a strike.
Well, I like John Lieber. He's a battler. He's been a nemesis of the Mets. He's pitched well against them in his career.
Pitched some terrific games against them last year. But one of the things that the Phillies have going for them this year is the depth of their starting pitching. And they've got 6 guys for 5 spots when healthy. Freddie Garcia is on the disabled list right now, but they've got a lot of depth in their starting pitching. There's a strike to Green with a changeup, 2-2.
They've got right now, they're going with a 4-man rotation. They got Hamels, of course, Eaton, Jamie Moyer, and Brett Myers. That's a nice little foursome right there.
How about Moyer against Glavine on Thursday? Struck him out. Green down swinging. 7 strikeouts for Cole Hamels. 2 out. We'll take a look at our New York Lottery Mets box score. Delgado with a couple of hits and a sacrifice fly today. Jose Valentin has the biggest Met hit, a 2-run single. That was in the 4th inning. But it's the Phillies who have the 5-3 lead as Valentin steps in for his 3rd at bat. And he lines one to left field. Over toward the line is Burrell. And he's got it to end the inning. So Cole Hamels walks out Lou, but gets the next 2.
Hope you're enjoying the game. I'm Kenny Choi. Coming up later today on the 6 o'clock edition of Geico Sports Night. It went down to the wire, but the Islanders advanced to postseason play. Tune in at 6 o'clock for a preview of the Isles' first-round matchup against the Sabres. Now, back out to Shea.
We go to the 7th in the Mets home opener. Phillies with a 5-3 lead on the strength of Ryan Howard's 3-run homer off Ambiorix Burgos, and now Joe Smith makes his Shea Stadium debut.
Well, Joe Smith had his rookie debut in St. Louis. It was a little shaky. Then he pitched in Atlanta and did a nice job. And we liked his stuff all spring, Gary.
Well, you know what you get is you lost Bradford, and I think the Mets were really worried about losing Bradford, but they got a younger version who throws harder.
Carlos Ruiz will lead off against Smith, who threw a very impressive inning in the 3rd against the Braves on Saturday. And Ruiz takes ball 1. Ruiz with an opposite field single in the 4th, 1 for 3. One and one to Ruiz.
I just realized that we have one of those days where the Jets are landing over the center field fence. No wonder it's been so quiet. They're not taking off over Shea. That's a beautiful thing.
Doesn't happen very often,
particularly on a day game.
Things have changed.
Look at the stadium in the background. That's exciting to look at that.
Or it's got to be the U.S. Open and Mayor Dinkins, right?
That's when it started.
Yep.
Things have been much better the last few years in that regard. You know how much Keith loved the airplanes when he played.
It was always another excuse to step out of the box and break up a pitcher's rhythm.
This year, when you can't be home to watch your Mets on SNY or CW11, check out MLB.tv. You can log on to the internet to watch every out-of-market Mets game of the season live, catch those you missed on demand, or listen to every radio broadcast live. Sign up today for MLB.tv. And it's in there for a call, strike 3. Ruiz down looking, and Smith strikes out the first man he ever faces from the Shea Stadium mound.
Well, this slider, he throws it a lot. It stays inside. He's getting the call from Bill Miller. And you'll see that it starts right at the right-hander's hip, but stays right on that inside corner. They can't turn on it.
Well, you saw LaDuca set up there away. I just think he just threw a helicopter up there and was in the right spot, just stayed inside. And that's going to freeze a hitter.
Aaron Rowan, the batter. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
It's one of the great things about opening day, the buzz around the stadium before the game starts. Kind of that baseball is finally back feeling, everybody buzzing, ready to get inside the stadium. Mets, of course, have had some of the great games here the opening day at Shea. Take it back to 1983. Tom Seaver back on the mound for the Mets. All he does is throw 6 shutout innings. The Mets beat these same Phillies 2-0. Leads, of course, to a thunderous ovation. You, of course, mentioned the Gary Carter home run in '85 off Neil Allen to win it in his debut. And then in '86, make that 96. Ray Ordonez, his debut here at Shea, makes an unbelievable relay throw to nail Royce Clayton out at the plate. That's in the top of the 7th. Bottom of the 7th, Mets score 4 runs. They go on to beat the Cardinals 7-6 that day. A couple of good memories for you guys here at Shea.
That was our introduction to Ordonez's magic, throwing from his knees from down the left field line. 2-2 now to Rowan. Matt Smith up in the bullpen with Joe Smith on the mound for the Mets. The Mr. Smiths have come to Shea. Three and two on the slider to Rowan.
Opening day at home, whether it's the first game of the season or you start the season on the road like the Mets did this year, it's different than opening day on the road.
Yeah.
It's you really got to control yourself, control your emotions.
Top to third. And right with the overhand toss to get Ruiz 2 out. Is it almost like a playoff feeling? Do you have that same pit in your stomach?
Not really.
Well, initially, the only time I started like John Maine started today. It wasn't the season opener, it was the home opener. And did not pitch well. Gary Carter took me deep for a grand slam home run. Gave up, I think, 5 or 6 runs early in the game. And about right when they were going to take me out, some fan threw from the top deck a grapefruit. And I remember it almost hit me, and I was looking at it in the mound. I was like, God, someone just almost hit me with a grapefruit. And so after I had 2 hours to think about it, and the reporters came to me and they said, what do you think about almost getting hit by a grapefruit? I said, I'm glad the Mets don't play in the Cactus League.
Broken bat grounder, and quite an inning for Joe Smith in his Shea Stadium debut. A strikeout and 2 ground balls. 7th inning stretch time. 5-3 Phil. Day at Shea, and much pomp and circumstance. Gold Glover throws out the first pitch, and 2 young hurlers go head to head. The Mets grab a lead on an unlikely slide, but the Phillies get it right back, hand the Mets a run. But then Ryan Howard, last year's MVP, with a 3-run bomb to put the Phillies in front. And with the fans having been up and stretching, the Mets will come to bat in the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing 5-3. Good to see Mr. Mets. I missed him all winter.
Well, tell it to Tom Seaver.
Good to hear Lazy Mary again.
Yes.
You're talking about, thank God I'm a country boy in Atlanta. Come on, Lazy Mary.
No, you can't argue with this song in this place.
Full house at Shea on a 43-degree afternoon, as the Mets look to rally late against the Phils. Weekday afternoons between 4 and 6. Log on to CW11.com for live traffic updates from the CW11's CommuterCast. Check with CommuterCast before you hit the road to find the fastest way home or the easiest way to Shea. Matt Smith will take over the pitching for the Phils. Cole Hamels leaving after 6 innings at 97 pitches.
Well, Matt Smith came over to the Phillies in the Bobby Abreu, Corey Lytle trade. Tall left-hander, throws very hard. Been a really cup of coffee really with the Yankees, only 12 games.
And Damian Easley will bat for Joe Smith, leading off. And for Easley, this will be his Mets debut. He did not get in any game on the road trip. And Easley watches one low. Damian Easley took over the same role that Chris Woodward had for the Mets the last couple of years. Pedro Feliciano ready to pitch the 8th inning. Easley, a 37-year-old veteran who was born in New York. And he's fooled on the breaking ball by Smith. It's 1-1. Damian moved to Southern California when he was 11 and said if he hadn't moved, probably wouldn't be in the big leagues. Jeff Geary up in the Phillies bullpen. 1-2 to Easley.
I pitched against Damian early in his career as we look at Jose Reyes trying to find where that foul ball went. And he always had a lot of pop. He'd surprise you. He's not a big guy. If you get a high fastball, he's got a little pop.
Hit 9 home runs last year with Arizona. Reaches for one and grounds it to Rollins. Low throw, and Howard does a nice job handling it. 1 away.
Well, it's a routine ground ball here, a high chop. Took a little kind of a funky bounce. Nice scoop.
So 1 out and nobody on. And here's Reyes, who last time up hit a pop up to the mound on which Nunez and Howard collided. Howard actually elbowed Nunez in the side of the head, and the ball fell for an error, and the Mets got a run out of it to take a brief 3-2 lead. Reyes 1 for 3 on the afternoon, and he takes the changeup, ball 1. One and one to Reyes. Paul Lo Duca waiting on deck. Good pitch by Smith, and it's 1-2.
Nice inside corner fastball. Just freezes up Jose. And let's take a look at. Ooh, borderline. Pitcher's got the call.
Well, Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, has had a big home plate all afternoon.
1-2 to Reyes. He lays off the breaking ball, 2-2.
And you know, we've said it, Gary, the whole first week of the season about Jose Reyes laying off that breaking ball where in the past he's swinging into the dirt at bad breaking balls in the dirt. He's staying in the at bat, showing that's a lot of work he's done with Rick Down, the batting coach. As you're looking at him, Rick, right there.
2-2 to Reyes. Just missed inside. You just watch Reyes' at bats differently than you watch anybody else. I know I do.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for something to happen. You don't know what it's going to be. It's not like Ryan Howard where you're waiting for a home run.
Yes. He can make a pop up to the mound exciting, as he did his last at bat.
Payoff from Smith. Grounded to third. Nunez will have to hurry. And he got him. 2 down. So 2 out and nobody on. As we check out the answer to our MLB SNY text poll. Do you think Lastings Mellors should stay on the 25-man roster? 67% say yes, 33% said no, which raises the question, if not Millage, then whom?
Well, if he's not going to play, you have to send him down.
Yes.
Simple as that. He's got to play.
Somebody's going down on Friday when Mike Pelfrey is activated. Ball 1 to Lo Duca. Lo Duca 0 for 3, but his last time up, he helped build a run with a ground ball to the right side.
Ah, scorekeeper.
Teach your kids to score.
She's got, honey, you need that Disraeli Gears cream album. The colors, you got to color code that thing.
I'm impressed. She's even got that official scorebook going on there. That's great.
How fun is that? Look at that. Sweet.
Does she have an eraser? Nope, she's doing it in pen.
Oh, that's the old scorecard too. The old-fashioned ones.
2-1 to Lo Duca.
That's right. They have the.
You can circle the base hit double on the
yeah.
left-hand column, up and down, the vertical up and down. On the left-hand side, we can get a. Oh,
that's great too. She's pretty young, right?
Out of the bleachers,
Fantastic.
keeping score, getting some sun. Line, base hit. And so Lo Duca has his first hit of the day. And Beltran will come to the plate as the tying run. Lo Duca came into the day hitting at .409. He is just off to a tremendous start as Rich Doobie, the Philly pitching coach, visits Matt Smith.
Yeah, talking about Lo Duca, I was thinking about this the other day that he had an amazing year last year where he's always been known as one of those guys that maybe slows up in the second half of the year. But I think that he is really comfortable right now. Sometimes it happens later in your career with eschewing the home runs, eschewing the extra base hits. He is a line drive, base hit hitter. He's going to hit for average, and he's going to do the little things, of course, to help your team win.
And the amazing thing about that second half, he did it with his thumb, which had a torn ligament in it, which he eventually had operated on after the year, and at age 34, an age at which catchers normally are slowing down.
Well, we said he does everything a second place hitter does that you want in a second place hitter. The only thing he doesn't bring to the second position in the order is speed.
So here's Beltran, who's 1 for 2 and a walk. Tying run at the plate. And the backdoor breaking ball misses 1-0. Carlos Delgado, who's had a big day, waiting on deck.
Third baseman Abraham Nunez is not guarding the line. Boy, 7th inning, you got to guard that line. No double, especially with 2 outs.
Well, there's a strike with a breaking ball, 1-1.
Good call, Keith. For the pitcher who loves to pitch inside. Fastballs inside and sliders down and in. That's recipe for disaster down the line.
Base hit doesn't score a run. A double does.
Two and 1 to Beltran. Carlos hit 41 home runs last year. Howard holding against LaDuca, who's going nowhere. And the slider misses, and it's 3-1. A walk to Beltran will put the tying runs on base and bring up Delgado. Carlos looks like he's getting his swing.
That's only a matter of time. He's too good of a hitter. That week always hurts you at the end of spring training.
Matt Smith behind on Beltran, 3-1. Broken bat, foul. As the barrel goes sailing out toward short. Shards were heading toward the mound.
Wow.
And only a little sliver wound up in Beltran's hands.
I'd like to see where the contact is here. Does he jam? Oh, off the end of the bat. And he's got that big old Coke bottle barrel. Thin handle. Wow. There, off the end of the bat. Those are the kind that do that to your bat.
Not much left.
Nice cut. I think it was 3-1 there, looking for a pitch to drive.
Ball ran a little away from him.
Tried to do, tried to do too much with that, but it's a good gamble right there. 3-1. Look for a pitch to drive and tie the ball game up.
LaDuca will run 3-2 and 2 down. Fouled it away. 3-2 breaking ball from Matt Smith.
Fought off a good pitch there to stay in the at bat.
Pedro Feliciano getting set to pitch the 8th. Mets trying to come from behind. They've done it once already today. They were down 1-0, led 2-1. Phillies tied it. Mets went up 3-2 before Howard's 3-run homer put the Phils in front. 3-2 to Beltran. And he walked him. And now the tying runs are aboard. And Carlos Delgado will come to the plate. Charlie Manuel, whose team is off to a 1-5 start, and whose vulnerability appears to be in their bullpen, trying to survive the final 7 outs.
10th walk of the game.
Hamels walked 3. Maine walked 6.
The Phillies were walked 11 times yesterday by Marlin pitching.
And left 14 on base in that game. So here's Delgado, who's 2 for 2 and drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the 5th. Carlos got off to a slow start. 2 hits today, have his average up to 241. And he lays off the breaking ball, knocked down by Ruiz, 1-0. David Wright waiting on deck. Delgado facing 27-year-old Matt Smith. Nobody throwing in that Phillies bullpen. A little bit surprising with Wright waiting on deck.
Gary was up, so maybe he's already loose. I got to believe that a right-hander is going to come in if Delgado gets on to face right.
If he goes 2-0, it'll be speed dialing to get him up ready for right.
On 1-0, Delgado takes a strike. That's a good pitch from Smith.
And a good pitch to take as a hitter. You know, Delgado looking for a ball. 1-0, looking for something middle in. And that good hitters spit on that. Just say, hey, I'm not going to, if I'm geared to hit, pull and drive something, that's not a pitch for me to drive.
Delgado fouls it off, and it's 1-2.
Little cutter, Ronnie, and a good cut by Delgado.
It's interesting to watch the catcher set up inside, then jump to the outside, and it was a little cutter slider from Matt Smith. Good placement, and it was down too.
Just a little out in front, Delgado. Tried to pull that pitch. That's a tough pitch to pull right there on the black outside corner knees.
Said it many times though. The mistakes you make a lot of times with breaking pitches. Burgos did to Howard. Let's see if Smith comes back with another breaking pitch to Delgado.
So Duca at second. Beltran with excellent speed, the tying run at first. But now Delgado in a 1-2 hole. Line drive, base hit. Duca turns third. Rowan playing a shallow center up with the ball. The throw cut off. And it's a 5-4 ball game. Delgado drives in his second run of the day to get the Mets within a run.
Good hitting. Fastball in. Oh, see, he didn't get it enough. Saw the catcher's glove come out over the middle. Look at the catcher's glove. He's reaching over the middle. Good hitting by Delgado. Clutch out. 2 outs. LaDuca's going. He shouldn't look back, but he's going to score. And they had a chance to throw him out. I don't know why. Look at Beltran is not attempting to fake like he's going to third, and Ryan's right in front of him. Just let it go then.
Charlie Manuel's going to bring a right-hander in the game. Jeff Geary to face David Wright. Mets within a run, 5-4 in the 7th. Carlos Delgado with a 3-for-3 day has driven in a couple of runs. His base hit has gotten the Mets within a run. And now Jeff Geary tries to come on and bail out the Phillies.
Well, Jeff Geary has not given up a run yet so far this year. He's one of those guys, he's a little guy, but he throws 90, has a good overhand curveball. And he's been the guy, the main guy they've gone in the middle to try to get the ball to Tom Gordon, their closer.
David Wright is 0-for-3 today, tying run at second with 2 down. And he goes after the slider. It's 0-1. David has hit in all 6 games the Mets have played this year. 18-game hitting streak going back to last year, but he's without a hit today. Trying to pick up Beltran, the tying run at second. Hits it the other way toward the line. Victorino can't get it. Oh! It looked like he might have trapped it, but no, the first base umpire Marvin Hudson said he made the catch, and the inning is over. Let's check this out.
Well, let's take a peek here. Nice play.
Got it. Got the glove under the ball.
Yes, he did.
Nicely done by Victorino. Takes a base hit away from David Wright. David thought he had it down, but the Mets settle for 1 run in the 7th to get within 1 as Victorino bails out the Phillies. And Jeff Geary appreciates the effort. David Wright came within inches of getting this game tied for the Mets.
Take a peek here. Look how shallow he's playing here, but David Wright with tremendous power to the opposite field. That is extremely shallow. Look at that. And that's why he makes the play. So we were talking in between innings, Ronnie. Rowan, and you see Wright's reaction here. It's been a little frustrating start for him. But Rowan plays shallow, and I think he's had some influence on Victorino.
Jeff Geary will come up to bat against Pedro Feliciano, the 4th Met pitcher of the afternoon. So Geary came on to get Wright out barely, but he'll stay in the game for the 8th.
Well, Feliciano last year had his breakout season, his first year from throwing from the side, unscored upon on 28 of his last 31 appearances, and continued that on into spring training, where he only gave up 1 run in his entire time this spring.
See what Geary's done in his career. Just 2 for 12. Don't get too many at-bats as a relief pitcher. Jeff Geary, who grew up in Buffalo. Not too many Buffalonians in the big leagues.
One of his at-bats, Jeff Geary, 2 years ago, he fouled the ball off the plate and hit him in his cheekbone. He was out for almost 6 weeks.
In some people's hands, a bat is a dangerous weapon. 3-2 to Geary. Jimmy Rollins on deck as Geary lofts one foul. Now, John Maine started for the Mets today, and it was not his best day. In addition to the 5 hits, he gave up 6 walks. And then Ambiorix Burgos looked like he was on the verge of getting himself out of trouble in the 6th before Ryan Howard's 3-run homer gave the Phillies the lead. Joe Smith, first Shea Stadium appearance, a 1-2-3-7. The shortstop for Reyes. And Geary hardly running as Reyes throws him out, 1 away.
By the way, I like that pitching summary because, you know, guys don't pitch 8 or 9 innings all the time now, so you use 4, 5, 6 sometimes pitchers. So you keep them all straight and see what they did. Earned runs, no earned runs, long strikeouts.
There are lots of ways of doing that. Some of us, you know, use a pitching chart. Some of us use highlighters.
That's right.
Multicolored highlighters. There's Jimmy Rollins. Rollins batting right-handed for the first time today. And he's ditched the shades. Now, wait a second. It's still sunny out there. He had the reflector glasses on his first 4 at-bats, and now he's gone shadeless.
It's like sponsors. You only have to have them on for 7 innings, Jimmy Rollins. After that, he can do whatever he wants.
It's like a NASCAR driver, right?
That's right.
Or like in Lawrence of Arabia when they crossed the desert and they said the sun's off the anvil, which is directly overhead.
Nice.
So it's more of an angle in.
You would floor me with your references. 1-2 to Rollins.
You remember when they crossed the desert to the Aqaba, when they attacked the city in Aqaba, and they went across the desert, and Omar Sharif said we have to get to point X before the sun hits the anvil. I'll never forget that line.
Wow, that certainly explains why Jimmy's not wearing the sunglasses.
I like that. Sun's off the anvil.
Feel like it just got hit by an anvil. Rollins toward the middle. Valentine to his right. And there are 2 away. So 2 out and nobody on. Well, if you haven't finished your taxes yet, there's still time. The tax team at Gilman Seocia can help. Just head out to Shea and stop by the Mets team store April 11th through the 15th and get your taxes done for free by Gilman Seocia. 2 out and nobody on. Here's Shane Victorino, who made that terrific catch in right field, which has kept the Phillies in the lead. Victorino 1 for 3 in a sacrifice today. He's stolen a base, he's scored a run, and Feliciano gets ahead of him.
Victorino's another one of those guys that is a winning kind of player. He makes a good defensive play. He has a sacrifice already in the game.
But isn't it interesting? Last year, the Phillies trade away Bobby Abreu at a point in the season where it looks like their year is over. Victorino takes over for him. Now, if you look at numbers, you know, Abreu is a guy with a 400+ on-base percentage, hits home runs, steals bases, Gold Glove in the outfield. Victorino can't possibly match that, yet the Phillies became a better team.
Well, Bobby Abreu does have a Gold Glove, but by the time it became the last couple of years in that Citizens Bank Park, I think he had some fear in right center when he was playing right field. Anything over his head in the gap, just kind of shied away from those plays, and that cost the Phils a lot last year. And Victorino, as you've seen, is a fine defensive player.
There you go.
Take a break and watch the game. Well, there's going to be a lot of construction going on out in center field all year long as Citi Field begins to rise.
I think they might be done for the day, right?
Yeah, I don't think they work during the day games.
Yeah, 7:30. Oh, that's right. So we don't hear all the banging.
He's got his hat on backwards.
That's how you do it now. That's
styling. 1-2 to Victorino. Missed with the backdoor breaking ball. 2-2. But it's amazing sometimes when you look back at teams where a player with great numbers leaves and they get better. And he missed the breaking ball, and LaDuca with the toss to Delgado to complete the putout. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Feliciano as he fans Victorino. Mets will come up in the bottom of the 8th, down by a run with Alou leading off. Well, I was kind of fond of the Ramones. Moises Alou leads off the home 8th inning. Mets down by a run. And Jeff Geary misses inside. Alou 0 for 2 and a walk today.
Did you ever see the Ramones at CBGB in your day?
Did.
Me too.
1-1 to Alou.
That's a great shot, isn't it?
It is nice through the glass.
It's voyeur.
Bullpen cam.
Voyeuristic. Webby, I tell you, I'm worried about him. What's he do at home at night?
He's everywhere. Keep your shades closed.
Don't go there.
And Geary misses outside. 2-1.
Okay.
He parked in the handicap spot.
You have to. Whatever it takes.
To right center field. Long run for Rowan. It's slicing away from him. He can't get it. And Lou takes the turn and he'll hold on at first as Victorino backed that play up nicely. And the Mets have the tying run aboard, leading off the last of the 8th.
Well, you can see right here, Rowan playing straight away. There's a step into left center. Gets a good break on it. This ball just sliced away from him. Just out of his reach. Boy, I tell you what, you can love those kind of hits. Don't hit it that well, just in the right spot.
And how about Victorino getting over there to prevent the double?
Yes. Good backup by Victorino. It's not only that, not hitting that well, Keith, but because if he does hit that well, probably Rowan makes that play. Because it will not have that slice on it.
Would you bunt with Sean Green?
No.
And he breaks his bat, bloops one, shallow right. It's going to fall in. And the Mets have the first 2 men on in the last of the 8th. Pays to be lucky.
Well, 2 seeing eye dogs right here, and the Phillies are in trouble.
Now you got Valentin up.
Completely sawed off, and you can see Rollins playing up the middle, double play depth, and there's just no chance right there. Burrell does not cover that ground, and Willie Mays wouldn't have made that play. He just saws him off, and it's a big hang with him, Ronnie.
You always trade lumber for a hit, though, won't you?
So now you got Valentin up. Pitcher's spot due up next. You got Franco out on deck to pinch hit. Not sure why Franco and not Chavez. But in any event, you have to figure a bunt here.
Definitely a bunt.
Franco is Willie's man. If there's RBI situations late in the game, the driving runs, just like Rusty Staub used to be in the early 80s, Franco is that man now.
But if you get the lead, you're probably going to bring Chavez in for defense anyway.
So you're saying you're wasting another player?
Seems to me with a right-hander in the game.
Well, he might just run. Going to pinch run.
Going to pinch run. Okay. They'll come in for Sean Green, carrying the go-ahead run at first base. So there you go. And they love Endy here at Shea.
I don't think anyone got a bigger hand in introductions today than Endy Chavez.
So Chavez carrying the potential lead run at first base as Valentin steps in with everybody looking for the bunt. Valentin 1 for 3, couple of RBIs today.
The wheel. We saw the Phillies there. I said wheel, the wheel play here at number 3.
Rollins had the wheel going, but Nunez wasn't coming in.
And Nunez has got a charge. This is what it's all about. He vacates, and Rollins comes over. And Nunez doesn't come in. He's got to come in aggressive.
I think somebody missed a sign.
Yes, they did.
And that's why Rollins and Nunez were talking to each other after the play.
So someone's a bonehead out there.
1-0 to Valentin. They fake the wheel, and now the bunt to third, and Rollins goes to third for the throw from Nunez, and they ran the wheel and get Alou, their lead runner. And Alou limping just a little bit after making that slide, but running off the field all right.
Now watch Rollins here and Nunez. You can see the good fake by Rollins. That's what set that up, because usually the shortstop breaks and keeps running to third. He broke and stopped, and I think it fooled Valentin. But nice play here, good throw. That is good fundamentals. That call comes from the manager, from the bench. You have 3 plays on the bunt: the regular bunt play, the pickoff, and the wheel.
And not only does the fake, Keith, the fake by Jimmy Rollins freezes Alou, because if he runs straight to third base, Alou on second can follow that shortstop and get a better jump.
Now Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, out to the mound.
Well, look at the slide by Alou.
Oh, he got caught.
Yeah, came up holding his right side a little bit. Looks like he was able to run it off, though. So now Franco comes up to pinch hit with first and second and 1 out, and the Mets down by a run.
And you got to watch out with Chavez here, Phillies. He stole third base. Was he 6 for 6 or 8 for 8 last year?
6 for 6. Yep.
So that's a potential threat. Got to keep him close.
One of the reasons perhaps Franco is batting here is he's 3 for 5 in his career against Jeff Geary.
See the outfield defense there, Keith. Victorino's back against Franco. He was in against Wright, but back against Franco.
Franco's had 2 plate appearances this year, a sacrifice fly and a walk. Tying run at second, lead run at first with 1 out. And time called. No pitch. Chavez, the pinch runner, at second. Valentin at first with 1 out. And yes, it's chilly. Can you tell? It's not as chilly in the sun, but it's still chilly.
We got a nice heater up here. That's all that counts. Right in our feet.
Yes.
Me.
I'm sick about talking about me. How about talk about you? What do you think about me?
Phillies straight up on the infield, hoping for a double play opportunity. And Franco getting a little annoyed with Geary, with Reyes waiting to follow. Mets have 10 hits. They need at least 1 more. Down 5-4, bottom of the 8th. And the breaking ball by Geary misses. 1-0. Mets trying to rally late. Their 4 wins this year were all by 3 runs or more. They played close games the last 2 days in Atlanta and lost them both. Now they're in a 1-run game with the Phillies in the 8th inning in their home opener. They missed with it. 2-0.
Well, good pitch to hit. The pitcher does not want to walk Franco here. Put the go-ahead run in scoring position, so it's a really good pitch to hit. You can make a choice up there. If you don't get it, take it.
48-year-old Julio Franco in his 30th professional season. Breaking ball misses, ball 3. So Geary throws a 2-0 breaking ball and now in danger of loading the bases for Reyes.
Oh, interesting choice there by Geary. That ball stayed inside. Geary thought it was a strike, but good call by Bill Miller. That ball came around the plate.
Geary walked only 20 batters in 91 innings last year, so he generally has outstanding control. You figure Franco's taken at least one here. Ball 4. He threw a 3-0 breaking ball, and now the bases are loaded for Jose Reyes. Stunning pitch selection.
Gotta be kidding me.
Agreed. Cold guy off the bench. I don't care how great a pinch hitter he is. At some point, you have to challenge him.
Well, maybe that has to do with Franco being 3 for 5 against Geary, which, you know, it just doesn't make any sense. So here's the opportunity for Reyes. A base hit could give the Mets the lead. Reyes 1 for 4 on the day. Bases loaded, 1 out, 5-4 Phillies, home 8th inning. And things getting tight around Jeff Geary. In the air, foul, and out of play.
Good breaking ball to hit right there, and Jose, you saw his reaction. He missed it. Kind of a spin him up there, get ahead in the count, breaking ball. Very dangerous with the sacks drunk.
We saw him hit a couple of those for triples in Atlanta.
John Lieber up in the Phillies bullpen behind Geary. Very hard to double up Jose Reyes. So the Philly middle infielder is a little more shallow than you'd normally be at double play depth. To shortstop. Rollins boots it, and everybody's safe, and the game is tied. Jimmy Rollins, who's been on the griddle since this day began, boots it for the game-tying error.
Well, it gets in front of it nicely, and the ball came up. And I don't think he's going to double up Jose with Jose's speed. Just a muff. It happens.
You're right, Keith. That's absolutely a miss, but sometimes you're trying to rush it a little bit to maybe turn that double play, and Willie's happy with that tie game.
Reyes gets credit for an RBI because you can't assume the double play. And now the game is tied. Still only 1 out for LaDuca with the bases full. The Mets are a fly ball away from grabbing the lead. LaDuca 1 for 4 on the day. Ball 1, and Geary looks like he's feeling a little bit of the pressure here.
Well, you always, when you see a pitcher throw a 2-0 breaking ball and misses in a crucial part of the game, and a 3-0 breaking ball, it's almost like you deserve to have an L attached to your name in the paper tomorrow.
Yeah, you're not going after the hitter, so it's saying to the hitter, hey, I don't like my fastball today.
The feeling was that the Achilles heel for the Phillies was their bullpen. Their bullpen is struggling today. Mets have rallied to tie it with a run in the 7th and a run in the 8th, and now trying to grab the lead. Way to the backstop, and the Mets will take the lead as Valentine scores on the wild pitch. 6-5 New York.
Well, that's just a cross up there. Looking for the breaking ball is Ruiz, and that fastball sails right over his head. Cross up between the catcher and the pitcher. Pressure situations does that to players at times, and it did it to Geary and Ruiz.
Well, the Mets putting the pressure on. Back-to-back soft hits by Alou and Green. Phillies executed well on the bunt play to get the force, but then that incomprehensible walk to Franco set the stage. An error and a wild pitch bringing home the tying and lead runs, and now the Phillies have to bring the infield in.
Well, the Phillies are just completely having a nervous breakdown out here in front of our very eyes.
Boy, Franco at third, Reyes at second, 2-0 to LaDuca. And now it's 3-0, another 2-0 breaking ball. And you got Beltran standing on deck.
This one he aimed. That was an absolute aimer as he tried to throw it for a strike. 3-0. But as the Mets, they have to not get into this. They got to keep pushing. Utley leads off with Howard behind him next inning. Got to try to add on.
With Billy Wagner getting set to face his old mates. And there's ball 4, and the bases are loaded again. And, you know, you can't be pitching around LaDuca in that spot. You got Beltran coming up, who's hard to double up. It's going to be all for Geary as Charlie Manuel makes his way to the mound, and Geary with just an awful performance here in the 8th inning as the Mets have taken the lead, and John Lieber will try to come on and stem the damage. Mets have rallied to get in front. 6-5 New York. The Mets have scored twice in the bottom of the 8th to take the lead, and now John Lieber, just off the disabled list, who has not made a relief appearance since 1998, will take over the pitching for the Phillies.
Well, Lieber's one of those guys, you will not see him not throwing strikes. John Lieber's one of those guys, sinker slider. He's always been victimized by the home run ball, but anyone who's played behind him knows he's a gamer, throws strikes, he'll put the ball in play.
Franco at third, Reyes at second, LaDuca at first with 1 out. And here's Beltran, who's been on base 3 times, and he takes a strike from Lieber.
Lieber comes out of the bullpen, throws a nasty slider down and in.
John Lieber had a terrific year for the Phillies last year, despite going 9-11. Beltran pops it up, shallow center, and Rowan having trouble seeing it in the sun, but he makes the grab. Franco trying to score. The throw from center field, way offline, and the Mets had an insurance run. On a short sacrifice fly by Beltran, it's 7-5.
Well, fastball meant to be in, out over the plate. It's in shallow center field. Rowan, not a great arm, to say the least. Look at this rainbow in. Those runners should have been going to second and third on that throw. That's just an automatic rainbow. That's automatic. You know, out of his hand, that's not going to hit the cutoff man. But nice clutch hitting by Beltran.
No, the Mets have scored 3 runs in this inning. They had 2 soft hits to begin it. They haven't had a hit since. Here's Delgado, who's already driven in 2 runs today with a sac fly and a base hit. He's 3 for 3. A walk to Franco set up the inning. Rollins' error tied the game. LaDuca walked. The wild pitch gave the Mets the lead, and a sac fly gives them an insurance run. And now it's 2-0 to Delgado.
I think Lieber is going to be very careful with Delgado.
It's right up next.
Jimmy Rollins,
Crucial error.
probably wishes he had never said anything this winter. 3-0 now to Delgado with right on deck.
Everybody clap your hands.
You just put so much pressure on yourself.
I think you put more pressure on your teammates. You know, you put your pressure on yourself, and he's handled it well as far as the start he's got off to, other than today.
Well, that's the thing today.
What happens is that when a teammate says that, then all your teammates have to answer those questions in the locker room all season long.
And he walked them, and the bases are loaded. So Lieber rarely walks anybody. Just 24 walks last year in 168 innings. Walks Delgado, who's on base for the 4th time. And now David Wright gets a chance to break this game open with the bases loaded.
I don't know about you, Keith. I think that was a pitch around. I think that Lieber did not want any piece of Carlos Delgado today, with Delgado with the 3 hits.
I agree. And David is struggling.
Wright is 0 for 4. Thought he had a base hit last time up, and Victorino robbed him. Bases loaded, 2 down. Wright, the 9th man up in the inning. And he takes a slider for a strike. David's 18-game hitting streak dating back to last year on the line here. 7-5 New York, 8th inning.
And he drives one to deep left field. Back toward the corner. That ball is off the wall. In to score Reyes. Right behind him, Loduca. Stopping at third, Delgado. A two-run double for David Wright. And the Mets have scored 5 times in the 8th inning. It's 9-5 New York.
Well, we're talking about his bat being a little bit slow. Look how he clears with his front foot and just rips it off the left field fence.
Well, Lou gets tied up 1-0. Well, now Lou started this inning. He hit that slicing fly ball that Rowan couldn't catch in right center field that fell for a hit. And now he's the 10th man up in the inning. With 2 in scoring position, and the Mets now with a 4-run lead.
Did you hear the chant by the Met fans? Jimmy Rollins.
Well, you make your own bed, you sleep in it.
The sarcastic roll call. Reminds me of the Boston fans chanting Darryl.
That was loud. I'll tell you, I never heard anything like that in my life.
Well, no longer a save situation for Billy Wagner with a 4-run lead, but he'll be on to pitch in the 9th.
Well, Billy needs some work. A day off tomorrow for the Mets.
Well, the Mets were down 5-3 after Ryan Howard's 3-run homer in the 6th, but they scratched back for a run in the 7th, and now 5 here in the 8th as the Phillies have melted down. And now Lou drives one to left field, and that'll bring home 2 more. Delgado and Wright are in to score, and it's 11-5. A 7-run 8th inning for the Mets. And now Lou drives in his first 2 runs of the season.
Well, he gets a slider, bell tie out over the plate. And we've said all along the average is not indicative. Lou has been swinging a very good bat and tough luck. And with 2 outs, you're on the gun there, you're running, you're going to score.
Andy Chavez, who pinch ran earlier in the inning, up for the first time. The 11th man to bat. And you go back to the Julio Franco at bat, and that's where this inning came apart for the Phillies. And the Mets have stormed right through the door and scored 7 runs.
Listen, Julio Franco is one of the best pinch hitters to ever play this game. But at some point on a cold day, you got to challenge a guy coming off cold off the bench.
1-2 to Chavez.
I don't think I've ever, in my 17 years in the big leagues, seen a 3-0 breaking ball.
And then the Phillies have to put the game in the hands of Lieber, who hasn't been a relief pitcher in 9 years, coming off the disabled list to come in with the bases loaded. Slapped to shortstop, and Rollins handles this one cleanly. Too little too late for the Phillies as the Mets rollick their way to a 7-run 8th inning. And Billy Wagner will come to the mound for the 9th inning with an 11-5 lead. The Mets just kept hitting, and the Phillies kept on making mistakes, errors, and wild pitches. And the Mets finally cash them all in with big hits by Wright and Alou to make it 11-5.
And I'm Kenny Choi. Coming up later today on the 6 o'clock edition of Geico Sports Night, the Knicks trying to keep their playoff hopes alive tonight as they host the top team in the East. But will they be shorthanded? Tune in at 6 o'clock to find out. Now let's send it back to Shea.
Billy Wagner comes on to try and finish off the Phillies, who helped finish themselves off in the bottom of the 8th, as the Mets took full advantage, scoring 7 times to take an 11-5 lead and thrilling a crowd of more than 56,000 here at Shea.
Well, Billy Wagner in for the game. Oh. Nice.
Now that took a lot of work as Chase Utley takes ball 1. That's an extravaganza right there.
Wow.
I don't know if he or she, is that a he or a she?
That was a she, I believe.
I don't know if she can breathe, but it's, it's a beautiful
could
work.
Be toxic.
Like Goldfinger.
Blue and orange.
Instead of gold, painted blue.
By the way, of all those runs the Mets scored in the 8th, of the 7 runs, only 2 are earned. But John Lieber will get 2 earned runs against his record nonetheless, as Andy Chavez, who pinch ran and then batted in the inning, stays into play right field. Jimmy Rollins with the error with the bases loaded that brought home the tying run.
Did you just hear Bill Shannon on the loudspeaker giving Jeff Gary's line? He ran his line down. He goes, and also for Mr. Gary, a wild pitch.
Yeah,
so insult to injury.
2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 5 runs, 1 earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts. And very peculiar pitch selection. Right at Valentine. And he gets Utley for the first out. Met relievers have now combined to retire the last 8 Phillies in a row without the ball leaving the infield. Time for the Toyota National League scoreboard. Great effort by Braden Looper today. 7 shutout innings, just 2 hits at PNC Park. Astros leading the Cubs, and the Rockies early on top of the Dodgers on a Garrett Atkins home run. Brewers and Marlins play tonight in the only warm spot in the majors. Well, it's warm in Arizona too, but they play indoors. Diamondbacks off to a 5-2 start. The Giants, though, 1-5. They'll have Matt Cain going in San Diego. Ryan Howard takes a strike. Howard was the last man to reach base for the Phillies. Hit a 3-run homer in the 6th that gave the Phillies the lead. Wagner with the slider gets a hit on Howard. 0-2.
A good slider from Billy Wagner. Be interested to see if Wagner, if he faces Pat Burrell's been working on that split finger in spring training. What better time to try it if he's able to retire Ryan Howard.
In there for a call, strike 3, and Howard bailing out. 2 out.
Well, don't feel bad, Mr. Howard. This is a pretty wicked breaking pitch. Just buckled him. Stayed inside, Ron. Started his hip. Not intentional. And the fans are finally starting to leave here. They've relished this game, I think.
Well, here's Burrell, and you know he and Wagner don't exactly like each other. There's a strike. When Billy was a Philly 2 years ago, he kind of called out his Philly teammates, and Burrell, at whom his comments were aimed, took exception. 1-1 to Burrell.
Called Billy a rat at some point.
Yeah, that would be taking exception.
You dirty rat. That's Cagney's line.
And Burrell takes a strike, 1-2. And now the crowd to its feet. Better than 56,000 strong. 1-2 to Burrell. Just missed. 2-2. The Phillies, with this loss, will drop to 1-6. Which is not how the team to beat likes to start its season.
But it's April.
It is April, and like I said before, they started 2005 1-6, 1-5 last year.
Oh, 13 walks in this game.
Yeah, that's ugly.
Just ugly is right.
Burrell skipping rope, and it's 3-2.
The Mets earlier were ahead. John Maine, who struggled, gave up 6 walks in 4 2/3, but now Phillies have overtaken him. They've walked 7.
That bullpen has been tremendous since Burgos gave up the home run. Struck him out, and the ball game is over. Billy Wagner finishes it off in the 1-2-3 ninth inning, fanning a pair. And the Mets come from behind in the home opener, scorching the Phillies for 7 runs in the 8th inning to win it 11-5.
Well, you're playing the competition, and this is a big win for the Mets, and a very good fashion too. A come from behind win, Ron.
Yeah, and I think that the Mets and Phillies, although the Mets kind of got them at the end, the Mets and the Phillies going to play a lot of these exciting games all summer.
It's the 3rd time in their first 7 games of the season that the Mets have reached double digits in runs as they win it 11-5 with late thunder. Back to Shea Stadium in just a moment.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mats and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mats.
Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Nissan and your local Nissan dealers. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Rico, move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? Time for our Panasonic Plasma replay. Panasonic for the speed of sports. 8th inning, Mets up 7-5 when David Wright breaks the game open. Game within a few feet of a grand slam, settles for a 2-run double. That put the Mets up 9-5, and they went on to win it 11-5. Charlie Manuel, who certainly is not going to have a very long leash if the Phillies continue to struggle, sees his team fall to 1-6, and it obviously put a little hurt on him.
Well, Keith, I think he's Gary. I think he's definitely on the hot seat, and he cannot be happy with the way the Phillies played at the end of this game. Errors, pitch selection, and Charlie Manuel, if anyone who knows Charlie Manuel, one of the great guys you'll ever meet, but feeling a little today in this tough loss for the Phillies.
Well, they were close to firing him last year late in the season, and the Phillies had that great finish, and it saved his job. And you know, it's not the manager's fault. It's the players that got to execute. The Phillies played a terrible game. They had 2 errors in the field that cost them runs. 11 of the 11 runs of 7 were earned, 4 unearned. So you just can't give away runs to good ball clubs.
And their bullpen, which figured to be their Achilles heel, really struggled today.
Yeah, the bullpen struggled, and they gave extra outs to that Met lineup. You cannot do that. You're going to pay at some point.
And so the Mets win their home opener 11-5 to go to 5-2 on the year, while the Phillies fall to 1-6. Be sure to join us for our next Mets broadcast on Wednesday at 7 o'clock as the Mets continue their series with the Phillies. Coming up next, it's Nissan Postgame Live with Matt Yaloff and Lee Mazzilli. The home opener at Shea, a time for renewal, a time for celebration, time for dressing warm, as the Mets got their home season started here at Shea today. A lot of kids in the stands, a lot of pomp and circumstance before the game. Pretty good left-hander throwing out the first pitch. It was a little high, but it had some zip on it. And then the game began. And John Maine and Cole Hamels hooked up. Both were brilliant in their first start. Neither was great today. Ryan Howard looked like he had given the Phillies an important lead, but the Mets rally to win. For Keith, Ron, and Kevin, I'm Gary. We'll see you on Wednesday night here at Shea.
High drama in Queens on opening day. The Mets are victorious. This is Nissan Postgame Live with Lee Mazzilli. I'm Matt Yaloff. You're going to hear from Keith and Ron in a minute. And Kevin Burkhardt checks in from Shea as well. A reminder for you, Geico Sports Night comes your way at 6. And that is followed by Daily News Live at a special time tonight at 6:30. That's with Gary Apple. So many storylines in this game. Ups and downs. You know, that just works on your gut if you're a Mets fan. The Mets showed some serious resilience after Howard went deep, but this game came down to what?
Well, it came down to bad pitching on a Philly part. The bullpen just fell apart, and it was absolutely terrible. But the main guy behind this that started everything was Jimmy Rollins with that error on Jose Reyes. And, you know, sometimes you got to let sleeping dogs lie in spring training when he kind of said, you know, we're the team to beat. So, yeah, you got beat today.
Yeah, and right now the Phillies could find themselves in some major trouble if they don't come away with a win from here. You get buried in this division with 2 teams that figure to be competing as well as your team. That could
going back to that town in Philly, you better come back with a win.
Indeed. We go out to Ron and Keith now standing by at Shea Stadium. Keith, let me ask you this. 18 times you play each other in a season. When you start off this way for the Mets, on opening day with the home crowd and this kind of drama, can this affect the rest of the 17 games?
No, I don't think so. I feel that, you know, I got an echo in my ear, guys. Can you cut something out? Thank you. You know, right now this win is demoralizing for the Phillies because they're off to a 1-6 start. It's only April. It's a long way to go. It's a tough loss for them. They had the game. Their bullpen gave it up. They played 2 errors in the field. They played poorly today. And the Mets just kept chipping away. And the Mets got the bullpen after Burgos gave up the home run. The bullpen shut it down. And everything just kind of fell apart for the Phillies. And, of course, you know, 11 runs, 7 earned, 4 unearned runs. You just don't give good teams that extra out.
Hey, Ronnie, you know, for me, the game, you know, you're a pitcher, and I just don't understand this. You know, it was first and second, Julio Franco. How do you throw him 3-0 breaking ball? I mean, that changed the whole game around, the whole inning.
Yeah, it changes the innings, but also I think that it's kind of demoralizing to see your pitcher go after the hitter or not go after the hitter like
exactly.
that. Hey, listen, in this kind of April games, I don't care how good Julio Franco is, and he's one of the best of all time coming off the bench. It's 35 degrees or 40 degrees. He's coming off cold off that bench.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a chance in trying to go after him and being aggressive with him and make him put the ball in play and see if he can make a play out there. They weren't able to do that, and Keith said it. In 17 years, he doesn't think he's ever seen a 3-0 breaking ball in that kind of situation. I haven't either.
Yeah,
how about you, Matt?
exactly.
Have you ever seen that?
And it just seemed like he was pitching away from the bat. He was afraid of contact, for me.
Well, he threw a 2-0 breaking ball, too, and then he came back with a 3-0. So, you know, that just opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, let's talk about the Ryan Howard at bat in the 6th. I know it doesn't factor into the equation, but let's talk about it from the standpoint of options. You guys showed Pedro Feliciano just getting started in the pen when Burgos pitched to Howard with first base open. You could either bring the lefty in to face Howard, you could walk Howard, or the righty faces Howard. So you got 3 options. Talk about what Willie may have been thinking by going after him.
I don't think at that stage of the game, I don't think that Willie wanted to bring in Feliciano. Feliciano is the guy he uses late in the game. That's the left-handed bridge to Wagner. And I don't think he wanted to use him that early in the ball game. And you pitched Schoenweiss the day before, so I think he wanted to keep Feliciano in reserve for later in the game. You know, you can't walk Ryan. You got Burrell, who's red hot behind him. So, you know, it was a. Sometimes the hitter gets you. He hung a split finger, I believe. Ronnie and I mentioned it would have been better for him to double up with a fastball up and in, and he just didn't make the pitch. And, you know, Ryan Howard's an MVP.
There's also some interesting things that happen in April, right, guys? Mads, you know, as a former manager, you know, you want to see what guys will do in certain situations. Sure. You want to say, hey, kid, what are you going to do in this situation? And Burgos, the hitter before, don't forget, did a great job in a 10, 11, 12 pitch at bat to Chase Utley, one of the best hitters. He had a home run today, best hitters in the National League, and he struck him out. So I think early in the season, there are times when managers want to see what those guys in the bullpen, what kind of heart they have, and how they'll go after the hitters. And, you know, Burgos had a couple of steps forward, maybe one back with the 3-run home run to Ryan Howard. But I think we saw a lot from Burgos today, despite the home run.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the at-bat to Utley was a great at-bat. You know, he had 10, 11 pitches. But the only thing that I was thinking about by not walking him with Burgos, maybe Willie was thinking that if he loads the bases up, you know, he has a little tendency to be wild, and is wondering if, you know, he might walk or run in.
Well, that was the theme tonight, wasn't it, Keith? This afternoon, 13 walks by the pitchers today, so they had a hard time. And Bill Miller, to tell you the truth, you know, usually we get on the umpires. I think he had a very good strike zone, almost a pretty big strike zone still, despite that 13 walks. So you never want to have the bases loaded with a guy like Burgos, who's still growing and getting better as a pitcher and getting more in control of his pitches. So, yeah, I don't think you'd want to load the bases there.
Right.
Clearly, Maine wasn't at his best today, Ronnie. 6 of those walks attributed to Maine. But still, even though he goes 4 2/3, he battled, and he battled. He got some huge outs that really kept the Mets in this game.
Well, think about it. John Maine is trying to establish himself as an everyday major league starting pitcher, pitching every 5th day. And I'll tell you, a lot of times you can go out there and have the kind of stuff he had today. He just could not center it, get it in the strike zone, and you're going to have to battle. You show me a good starting pitcher, Major League Baseball, it's a guy that either wins when he doesn't have his best stuff or gives his team a chance to win, and Maine did that today.
Hey, Keith, before you go, how long did you ice the arm after the opening day pitch? We just have to know.
Hurt, and I was very strong. I almost overthrew Haji at home plate, so I was shocked. I thought that it was going to go like it was cartoons, where it was going to go like this, but it actually felt pretty good.
But how about the crowd, though? I mean, that must have felt good for you to get back out there and hear the New York crowd cheering for you.
Oh, really? Tell you the truth, it felt terrible. I loved it. Were you kidding? It was great.
Very good. All right, guys. We thank you so much. Entertaining game. So many storylines. Keith and Ron in New York. Maz, I mean, this is a great game to dissect, and I mean, you could go back and forth to your DVR for hours on this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things, but you look at the Mets, like you said, being resilient, coming back. I mean, they very easily could have fell down after Howard's home run. They came back, they fought, they scratched, they clawed. It is a good win, but the pitching today was just, Maine wasn't sharp today. I mean, the Philly pitching was just horrible. You cannot give the New York Mets at any time 4 outs or 5 outs in any, because they're going to bury you, and that's what they did.
All right, time for our first break here on Nissan Postgame Live. We remind you it is presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? When we come back, Kevin Burkhardt goes one-on-one with Carlos Delgado. David Wright and company coming back, an opening day win at Shea. The Mets 5-2 through the first 7.